Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening.
I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. It is April 16th.
It's August 16th.
August. See, I don't even know where I am anymore. Everything, life is a blur. Is
right.
It the year 2020,
Still 2023. Although
is it the year 2525?
Oh no.
In the year 2525. It's a great song.
Well, yes, and it was a great show.
That was that cheesy ass show.
Cleopatra 2525.
Yeah. Then they had that as the theme song.
Yes. Yeah.
It basically had almost a similar plot of Fry did with Futurama, where he basically gets cryogenically frozen and woken up in the year 2525.
That had like a surprisingly deep like mythology with like towards the end it actually started to get pretty interesting. It was still a terrible show.
Well, it was like from that, it was like Sam Raimi's company that made like Hercules and all those shows.
Yeah, but it did have like a cool mythology to it. And then I remember thinking that
Lawrence
the
Fishburne's wife is in that show.
Oh yeah,
to be in Firefly.
Gina Torres, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And Jennifer Skye played Cleopatra, and I thought she was like so pretty when the show was on. And I've looked at like that recently, and I was like, I don't see what I was seeing.
I'm looking it up. Jennifer Skye.
Yeah. She turned into a writer. She's like a newspaper writer for some newspaper in Florida.
Oh, nice. Is she? Does that mean she's a chud now?
No, well, I don't know. Maybe she is, but she looks great now. Like she looks like a normal, pretty.
To be fair, when she was on Cleopatra 2525. She was playing a stripper, I think, who gets cryogenically frozen and woken up into a dystopian future where the three main women were forced to wear sexy, revealing outfits.
Yes, yeah, that was part of the mythology.
Yeah, that was a rule. Like, this dystopian future, we have to fight the whatever we're calling these things.
Yes,
but the only way we can do it, and we all sound like William Shatner or like. What's his face from Futurama? The guy who's supposed to be William Shatner, who's also an impression of Phil Hartman.
The
guy, the captain or whatever he is on Futurama. That guy.
Yeah. I think the villains were called Baileys. I think.
You might be the only other. I watched that show and I've never talked to anyone about that show because I figured no one watched it.
Yeah,
ever. So look at this. You've been doing this podcast now for like 40 years.
Yeah.
It's been 84 years. You ever see that meme with the old lady from Titanic?
Oh, yeah.
It's been 84 years or whatever. And not once has Cleopatra 2525 come up.
No.
And let's pretend it never happened.
Sure. Yeah. All right. So it is.
And again, it's not like the worst thing to watch.
No, it's an embarrassing show, but it was it was embarrassing. But it was like I will say towards the end, it did have kind of like a surprisingly interesting mythology where like
I might not have stuck around for that. I think I might have only saw like the first season.
Yeah, the guy, the villain dressed like a juggalo.
Do you
remember that?
He ended up he must be like one of those actors owned by like because he was on like Xena and Hercules. He played a villain on there. And he ended up being like the main villain for a season of the Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Oh shoot.
Because that was also basically the same production company. That's why what's her face? Xena was like that actress. I forgot her name.
Yeah, Lucy Lawless.
Lucy Lawless ended up becoming like one of the main co-stars of the Ash vs. Evil Dead show.
Yeah. She was on Battlestar Galactica too.
Yeah. So he ended up becoming like a villain, that guy. And I'm like, he looks familiar. I'm like, oh yeah, he's been like he's some like day player that like Sam Raimi and his production company own. But they only let him out when they need like a Brad Dourif looking villain. He kind of looks a little bit like Brad Dourif.
He's like the Wish version of Bruce Campbell. It's like
Bruce Campbell was on those shows. And
I know, but he is like the Wish version.
He doesn't look anything like. He looks more like a Brad Dourif type. All right. Well, I don't think we were going to talk about any of this. Did you ever watch the show VIP? Do you remember that show?
Yeah.
It was her show she did after she did Baywatch.
Yes. Yeah.
Like a new attempt at doing Charlie.
She was were they bounty hunters or bodyguards?
I think they were bodyguards.
I think they were bodyguards. Yeah.
Every time I think you ever watch Always Sunny?
Yeah.
Obsessed with being a bodyguard.
Yeah.
So every time I hear the word bodyguard, you hear him go, bodyguards. He's just obsessed with being a bodyguard for some reason.
Yeah. VIP was good.
Yeah. All right. Well, we haven't even got to what we're talking about, Joseph.
Right.
What are we talking about? It is not about Cleopatra 2525. It is not about VIP. It's not about Mac from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I mean, maybe. Are they? Are any of these actually in this?
No. We're going to talk about season 2 of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which it's concluded, right? It ended on a cliffhanger.
That was the end?
I'm almost positive that's the
I
end.
figured there was a 2-part finale, and then I saw an ad and it said, watch the entire season now streaming on.
Yeah. They
usually don't make that advertisement until the last episode aired. I didn't realize it was episode 10.
Yeah, I'm 99% sure of this. They intentionally did it because a couple Star Trek series have had those types of cliffhanger endings where part 1 appears at the end of a season and the second part appears at the beginning of it.
Locutus?
Yeah, like the Best of Both Worlds, Star Trek Next Generation.
Worlds. What is that? That sounds like a porn.
that is
it sounds like that is Clerks when
actually the season finale of Cleopatra 2525. No, that was the name of the episode where Picard turned into a Borg. Was Best of Both Worlds.
I remember that.
So we're gonna talk about Star Trek. We're talking about the big news, which is Trump's 4th indictment. He's facing 200 years in prison. I'm not
90 indictments, and they said we'll talk about this, but in Georgia, the RICO, whatever that charge is, that could get him in jail 20 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Easily.
A pardoning would not. I think only governor can pardon that, and I don't think Brian.
No, in Georgia, the pardon rules are so fucked up. You can't even apply for a pardon. You can't get a pardon until after 5 years.
So he'll be serving if any of this does happen. This guy somehow ends up in jail.
Yeah,
he will have 5 years in prison no matter what.
Yes, you cannot get a pardon for the first 5 years, and then the governor doesn't get to pardon. It has to go to a board, and the governor can appoint the board, but the board has
the board.
The board.
Yeah,
the Queen Borg has to pardon you. No, it's a board decides on the pardon, so it's really difficult to get a pardon in Georgia.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, then we're going to talk about the Trump indictment. Then we're going to talk about the next Republican debate, which this is
the first
so exciting.
Republican debate.
Yeah. The first one of this season, and it's going to be on the 23rd, which is actually a week from tonight.
Yeah.
So we may have to figure out what we're going to do, because that would be interesting to talk about.
I do want to talk about it. Maybe we record the next Thursday if you're.
Yeah. Maybe that. I would say that might.
Because I think that because I have a feeling he's not going to be there anyway. I feel like and we'll talk about this when we go into it, because we're not going to go fully into this, but one of the things is he has to, no matter what, go in on the 25th, right?
He's got 10 days to surrender.
He has to surrender, and this one's more of an arrest than the other ones were. I guess this one's gonna have a fucking what do you call it?
Mugshot. And they're making him turn himself in at the jail, and there's not a side entrance. He has to walk through the front door.
I know. Let's move on real quick, but has he been quiet? I feel like he's been more quiet after this. Right? He was using the word rigor, which like,
oh my god, I couldn't believe that.
I was like, and I'm saying R.
Yes.
Rig,
yeah.
Rig.
Sure.
But I know what he's doing. I know exactly what he's doing.
He I don't know. I feel like he's been more quiet, but it may too be that like he's getting drowned out by like all the other noise that's happening. I would
think like it's serious if he's quiet. That's all.
Yeah.
Because the other ones he was like, they can indict me all they want and they're not gonna do anything. All right. We'll talk about that. Obviously, we're gonna talk about the debates.
Yep.
We're gonna talk about the primary. We're gonna talk about DeSantis and his being just very weird, unlikable, and also saying that he's done with Disney.
Right.
Well, Disney's suing him, right? I mean,
yeah.
So we'll talk about that. But it's good that he's fine with it. Well, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I don't think Disney is. Hawaii fire conspiracy. So Hawaii we didn't really touch on it last week. It happened last week, but it's possibly one of the worst fires to ever happen in like the worst fire. Like literally,
it's bad.
Was it like the whole island? Is it Maui or something?
It was I don't know the name of the island, but it was a small island, a small part of it, and it just went up. It went up in flames. People, I mean, like there's a ton of footage out there, but people had to like flee into the ocean. It was bad. Like there's very little left. We talked a little bit about just this onslaught of climate change news. I mean, I guess I would argue that this is just part of it. But we're talking about that. And then we're going to talk about that weird Ginger Chud singer.
Ginger Chud. I don't think that's his actual name.
No, so it's like
there's some country singer. I don't know his name. I'll have to pull it up.
It's like John Wesley Weasley. John Weasley Harding.
Yeah, John Weasley. He's one of the Weasleys from Harry Potter.
Yes, yeah.
No, it's just some astroturf singer put out some shitty song, and all these right-wing chuds jumped on it like this guy is the making the song of our generation.
Oh, they ate it up.
And he's just another chud. That's all he is.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna talk about speaking of that fucking weird. The Dallas airplane lady. She saw a lizard man or an alien.
I'll bet you, is a real fun person. Like when sure she is. I'll bet you she's a blast until about 10:30 p.m.
She's kind of like one of those big bitches. Those people that you go on a date with and they just get like progressively drunk throughout the night.
Yeah.
And they're not good drunks.
Yeah, like Cicely Strong's
no, that would be pleasant. I bet you she's the kind that like starts fights, gets you into fights,
argues with the waitress,
like just gets completely unbearably awful. Like I could imagine she's not a cool hang at all. Like I'm saying, like maybe she's fine, like 1 drink, 2 drinks, but like she don't stop. And it's like that movie, Blind Date, but like the romantic ending, just more like, oh my god, what the fuck did I do? I gotta get away from her. I'm gonna get killed tonight.
Something wild without the quirkiness. Like
that one?
What?
Something Wild? What was that?
Melanie Griffith was in it, and Griffin Dunn, maybe.
Oh, I think I remember that.
It was a good movie.
Yeah. He was great as the massive wound guy in American Werewolf in London.
Yeah. I would think that this woman is like Jess from The New Girl, but if Jess were on methamphetamine a lot. So
it was also awful.
And a horrible racist.
I don't know if she's racist. I don't know if it matter, but I will talk about it, but I'll just leave it at this before we move on to the next thing. when she posted a video, so she put out an apology video. That's what we're talking about, and it was really weird and sus. And all the people like Marjorie Taylor Greene were like congratulating her. So I'm just like, okay, there's something weird here because these people like they work in tandem. Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't just randomly take your side on something unless you're part of that like weird chud factory that she's part of.
Right. Yeah.
That's just a truth. That's a simple truth.
The chud cake factory.
Yeah, like if you're not a part of the chud cake factory, like Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't normally go, you go girl, whatever. I mean, it was super odd and weird. Then we're gonna talk about, speaking of brain dead, we're gonna talk about schools. You have a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
And then speaking of possibly what could be, this woman's running in Florida, right?
Yeah, for Senate. Yeah.
I think, is she's running like a progressive, it seems like she's running on a progressive agenda, right?
It looks, to me, it looks like a very progressive agenda. It looks like an agenda I would be in favor of.
If it was not Howard Stern Whack Pack star, Tan Mom.
She, I would say that, like, I kind of put this out there as like a caveat, because like every once in a while you'll see a Republican run and they'll highlight one progressive thing, but then the more you look, it's like not progressive at all.
No, it's like awful.
It's like I feel like Caitlyn Jenner was kind of like that, where she
was always a Republican for decades.
Yeah, but at first glance you're like, oh, this could be a progressive, and then
you just assume that because it's like this out and proud transgender woman, and then they're like, no, they're fucking awful.
No, they're terrible.
They're actually running against transgender kids.
Participating really remarkable.
You're just like, wow, she's on that list when it comes to Trump in Georgia. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, there's like 19 people. I don't know if she's one of them.
No, Caitlyn Jenner's not one of them.
She got lumped in. Like, she's been interviewed recently and stuff.
Okay, I believe that. I have the list here.
Georgia and shit and her, so I don't know. They're all part of that weird group of people.
Yeah.
Like OJ and all of them. They all go back like decades.
Yeah. Yeah, there's kind of like an odd confluence.
Wife is part of that.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, Kardashians, all those people, they're all part of that weird, like, right-wing Republican in like Hollywood. I don't know if it's like Orange County really, or I don't know.
Yeah,
but it goes back decades, and it's super weird. Okay, we're gonna end it on Tan Mom running. For Senate. If anybody remembers Tan Mom, her claim to fame was that she turned herself into a burnt corpse.
She looked like a fruit roll-up, essentially. Like her skin, like if you've ever seen an apricot fruit.
How did she get to that? Like, how did she turn herself into that? Like, there's tan, and then there was like, I don't know, burnt edge.
That I think that was like liquid tanner. I'm sure she actually literally tanned, but
I don't know. I'm surprised she's still alive and didn't die of like every form of skin cancer that existed.
When I was in high school, my friend Jim built a homemade tanning booth, and he took his closet and stapled tinfoil everywhere and brought in all these UV lights.
Did he die?
And I don't know. I haven't seen him in a while.
From that, did he like?
I went in there and tanned in this thing because everyone was doing it, and of course I was going to too. And then I still remember after I got out, he looked at me real serious. He's like, "You don't use like Clearasil or anything?" And of course I did, because I had like acne in high school. And
that kid from The Simpsons, the one who worked at Krusty Burger.
And he's like, well, you can't use Clearasil and then go in the tanning booth, like it was some sort of commonly known fact. Anyway, I like was convinced I had skin cancer for months afterwards.
Is it like stained you or something? You had like these weird white spots or something?
Yeah, it was like all jacked up. Anyway, I think she went through some sort of series of liquid treatments and tanning. Anyway, that's Tan Mom. We'll finish on her.
Yeah, we'll finish on Tan Mom. That sounds disgusting.
I was going to say,
it's I don't know if I want you to edit that, but let's redact that.
Yes, right. That was an unintentional phrasing.
I was gonna say something like where it's like we're gonna really shoot our load or something.
No.
No. End it right there.
I think she may be if she were running against Scott, she may have my vote.
If you lived in Florida, you'd vote.
Yeah.
I'd vote for her over fucking that guy's awful. What's it, Rick Scott?
It's Rick Scott and Marco Rubio.
Right, Rick Scott to me is possibly one of the worst people in our government.
He's terrible.
Like legitimately the worst. Like I feel like again, like Marjorie Taylor Greene is just a fucking performative chud.
Yeah.
So is like Bobert and but like Rick Scott is like legit an evil piece of shit.
Yeah. No, I agree.
He is a fucking lizard man. Like all right. Let's talk about Star Trek.
Yeah.
This is like, I don't know, how many shows is this now? What is it? They had Star Trek, Star Trek Next Generation, then you had Voyager,
Deep Space Nine,
Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and then you had that other show that
Enterprise, I think they called it. Yep.
That's one with Scott Bakula, and it was supposed to be like the first team to go into space.
Yeah, that was like got real heavy in the time travel stuff, and
that was like okay. And I remember people hated the ending because it ended where like you found out Riker was just in the holographic bay, and like basically they left it that like
none of it happened.
They don't have to follow the show. They could just say this was like interpreted reenactments. These are not exactly what happened. It was whatever. It was all right. On paper, it sounded like it'd be really good with Scott Bakula as the head of as captain of a ship.
Well, he was in the Kirk mold, and like at the time, we went from Kirk to Picard, who was like real cerebral, and he was like the anti-Kirk. And so then you went to Deep Space Nine, and Cisco was again like a cerebral.
He was more like, the joke was he hated Picard because of the whole Locutus.
Right.
Because I guess like, it's funny. The whole they like milked that Locutus shit. Like it was only like 2 episodes, but they made it sound like over the years
they're still talking about it in season 3 of
in Picard they brought it up a bunch of times, but in even on Deep Space Nine, that was a plot. That was the whole plot that drove the show. I remember in the first episode watching it, where Cisco, I guess, was on a Federation ship that was attacked by Locutus.
Yes, yeah.
So even though he knew that Picard was not really Locutus because he was like taken over, he still had a massive. They built this like massive like
animosity.
Yeah. I mean, but the joke is they were more similar than they were not. And then Janeway and Voyager, she was great. So then I guess the show, there wasn't any shows until they brought it back with Discovery, right?
Discovery.
I never watched it. I only saw like the first 2 episodes. I did not like the way the Klingons looked. I thought the makeup.
Well, they tried to turn the Klingons into like a Game of Thrones dynasty. Like they turned the Klingon stuff. I don't know. It was fine. There's a lot to like about it. I just didn't like it myself.
But they totally changed the way they looked, but then they tried to like backpedal or something and say like, oh no, this is just one faction of them.
Yeah.
So because people were like, "Oh, this new design's gross" or something. They just looked.
It was just dumb. I mean, it was. Yeah. Anyway, so this.
Let me real quick. I hate it too, because I used to watch this show. My wife used to watch. It was like a makeup show that was on Sci-Fi. It was basically like makeup.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
I forgot the name of it. It was like okay, but the artists that were like either the one of the judges. And they would show his shit, and I knew immediately when I watched Star Trek because they hired him. And it's like, I knew immediately. I'm like, oh, that's his fucking shit. It's like you can't make like something different, dude. Like, his stamp was like all over it, and I don't know. Okay, so there was Discovery, and then I guess that's it. Then there's just the Voyager. What's it called?
Well,
Strange Adventures. No, what's it called? The one with
Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds.
There's another the cartoon.
The cartoon's like okay. It's all right. It's weird. I
don't love it. It's
trying to make it like goofy. I've watched it. It's okay. It's just like another Star Trek show, but like it gets like serious too. But it's like always constantly goofy, and it kind of looks like Rick and Morty a bit.
Yeah. Well, I like the Strange New Worlds was the first one that came out in a while that to me fixed a lot of the things that had gone wrong with Star Trek, in that Star Trek had gotten like not too serious. I mean, it's fine as a serious show, but it like got so bogged down by the mythology that this was a real welcome change. There's some mythology in it, but the episodes worked well on their own. The mythology was pretty accessible. It was kind of basic. The cast was great. The set design is amazing.
It has a good way of like bringing in all the characters from the first generation into this. Clearly, they are setting up. In a couple of years, we'll probably get like a new Star Trek show. I'm fine with that. I'm sorry. You know what? The fucking show is 50 years old.
Yep.
Over 50 years old. You don't need to have to like be so glued to that. You know, I always love to try to be like, well, actually, they never met the Romulans till like season 3 of season 2 of Star Trek, so you can't have them meet them. And like, I remember when Enterprise came out, and they're like, they run into a Romulan ship, but it was okay because they didn't see them. They never actually saw them, because that's when they realized, like, oh shit, they're like Vulcans. And I think they've over the years learned to just be like, you know what?
Roll with it.
Who gives a shit? You know, I know. Oh, and then we have the movies too. Forgot that. We have the James Abrams movies, and they have that considered its own universe. And that's, I always thought that was kind of cool, because they did like they killed off James Kirk's dad, and his dad was alive in the original series. We talk about Tiberius Kirk and everything like that, but in this version, in this universe, his dad was killed, and it totally changed it. Even though he still ends up running the ship in the
end. Well, it was. I really like this show. I don't know if it's like high art. I don't know, like
high art. Well, I don't know that musical episode.
I mean, like I don't know. I always look forward to seeing it, and like
I like it. It's good. I think like the cast is good. I like the guy that got to play Spock is great.
He's great.
I feel like, you know, it was like when the movies came out, they made such a big deal about like, is Chris Pine going to be as good as what's his name played Spock?
Quinto, Zachary Quinto.
Yeah, Zach Quinto is going to be good, and they were fine, right?
Yeah, they were good.
Like there was so much more stress on them that maybe because there was a movie too, and it's more high profile, and on the show, it's like I don't know what the viewership for these shows are. I never look it up. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gotten like Mandalorian season 1 or 2 years, but I imagine it does pretty good. They wouldn't be making these if they weren't doing decent. You know, they wouldn't be. It must do well enough that it earns its budget, and you know, I mean, it's smart to keep this it's smart for Paramount to keep Star Trek going.
Yeah, like, for sure.
There's enough there that you can. There's enough there that you could always introduce new people, and there's enough aliens that you can tell stories. It's funny with Star Wars. I feel like Star Wars has all that, but like some people just can't get over like the whole Skywalker thing.
Yeah.
They can't see outside of the Skywalker, the Emperor. And I think it's just because the foundation is that original trilogy. And, you know, obviously there's people who read tons of books and, you know, read the comics. Well, that's a very small faction of the fandom.
But even so, and I'll say, like, I don't know how strongly I feel about this argument, but I think Star Wars is set up so that like Skywalker was set up like a Messiah type figure, you know, like Luke Skywalker. And
Dude.
Well, I mean, it was set up so that like he was central to the story. Like there was no story without him. Same with Vader and that family. So like with Star Trek, after they made the second show, after they made Next Generation, Kirk never really factored into that. I mean, he might have been mentioned, but it was like, oh yeah, just as important, meaningful things happened completely separate from all that, So
no, that was probably the biggest hurdle was for Next Generation. Was I remember watching that first season, he's being a little kind of bored by it. Picard was kind of boring and like it didn't look as good. You look at the first season, some of the sets were like pretty bad, but then they started filming in like more location, and it looked so much better. And the characters fell in. Worf was great, and Data was great. Like everyone had their own like. They were able to kind of create a whole new universe of characters that weren't just takeoffs of Scotty,
right,
Sulu, or like they were able to create like a whole new group of people that I think it gave life to that series, and the franchise in general, because it's like, I mean, because Picard is so different from Kirk. You cannot. The joke is if there is a guy who is Kirk, it's number one. It's Frakes. No, what's his name?
Jonathan Frakes, Riker on the show.
Riker, like he was the closest. And I remember watching Next Generation. I'm like, okay, he's the fucking Kirk of the show.
Yeah,
he kind of was a bit, but even he was different. He wasn't as like,
Well, I think it was such a great decision to make Picard so different than Kirk.
Yeah, having this like bald, older looking dude. Yeah. Joke was he was probably the same age.
Yeah, probably.
Probably like I don't think he was even 50 yet when it first aired. And I think that probably gave it life that people were like able to see beyond it. And it also probably created a whole new fandom of people who like, I don't even care about the Star Trek show. I like Next Generation.
Yeah.
Or I like Deep Space. There's a whole group. Deep Space Nine has turned into like this huge like its own thing.
Oh yeah, a lot of people prefer that.
And there's like you see like they try. I think people try to make it out to be more than it is. It's like Dax was the first transgender character and all that stuff because it was like they would that would previously the symbiote was in a man and now was a woman, and it was just like I don't know. I think people are trying to make it more than it is, but if it's there, it's there. I don't know. I haven't seen the show in like 30 years. When it originally aired. Voyager was good. Let's not lie though and admit the fact that the ratings weren't that great.
Right.
And UPN was like, we need to hire what's her face and shove her in a skin tight suit.
Yeah. Jerry Ryan.
Yeah, Jerry Ryan. Get her in a skin tight suit. Stat.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. It actually probably was the reason why the show lasted another 4 years or 5 years.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I mean, I remember watching Voyager and really not loving it. And then Jerry Ryan.
Why do I have a stiffy all the time? I'm watching the show and I have
such a confusing I don't know time.
I can't. Well, I have to put a trapper keeper in front of my crotch every time I walk around. That 7 or 9 is making me feel weird.
Well, that was that they did kind of wander.
That's exactly
with that.
What happened.
That's probably true.
100% true. Don't wear sweatpants when watching 7 to 9.
But I think this new show, this Strange New Worlds, is just like really breathed new life into the franchise. I think
and obviously there is nostalgia because like half the characters are Star Trek first generation characters, but I feel like the actors and actresses that they hired do a good job. That like I don't feel like they're just doing a pale imitation. Like what's her face who does what's her name? The translator or whatever.
The translator?
Wasn't she like
Uhuru?
Yeah, she's fine. She's fine. Good. She's playing like a much younger version of her, like clearly like straight out of she was like straight out of the academy or something.
That's in the first season. She was kind of the audience stand-in. It was all new to her, and you kind of learned about the world through her eyes. Which
the
was
guy
cool.
Who they got to play Spock. I don't know these people's names. The guy they got to play Spock he's good. I think he does a good job. I think he made it his own character. Yep. The guy they got to do Kirk he's been sprinkled in.
Yeah.
And I like that he has a brother who's kind of goofy, who's a cat. The brother is actually on the ship, and Kirk shows up once in a while.
Brother Ed, I think his name is.
Yeah, and he has a mustache. It's funny.
It is pretty funny.
Kind of weird. And I think they're doing a good job of like how they depict Kirk and how they bring him in. It's just odd that almost every episode he's been involved in has been like weird time displacement episodes.
Yeah.
But the one woman like fell in love with him.
Yeah, that episode was fine.
That episode was sad, actually. That ending, starts crying and shit. I thought that was like a great, because she's like a kind of like a stoic character.
Yes,
and that was a good episode where she goes back in time and everything. They've introduced some new elements. There's like that time that she gets visited by like that lady who was part of like the time, like a future, like a version, something way in the future that is part of the Enterprise, just not created yet. She visits
that is interesting. I hope they do more with that, because I think that's kind of cool.
Don't overdo it, but it's a good element to have in there. And that could be a good way to do a they call that backdoor pilot show that takes place like 300 years in the future.
That would be cool. Yeah.
And you get, that's a good way to backdoor it. And you can do fucking episode. You can do a team up episode once in a year or whatever, because there's time travel. You just don't abuse it so it doesn't get like corny.
Right.
The guy who plays Pike's fine, because it's not like, oh my God, the character of Pike was so like everyone knew who he was. So it's like, so he's good.
He's good.
They introduced Scotty. Did you notice?
Oh that? Yeah. That was that was good. But that, I thought that's kind of what you were referring to, where you could totally see they're seeding in new characters for an eventual reboot of the original.
Remember in the end of that one episode with Kirk, where he's having a drink with Uhura, Kirk, and Spock.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool. It was like a little like, oh yeah, they're setting something up here, like we're all going to be friends at some point or whatever.
Yeah.
And work on a ship.
Yes.
It's good. I guess the only thing my only issues I have with the show are like, just like, so Pike knows his death. And I guess he learned that in Discovery, because Pike showed up on Discovery. I didn't watch Discovery.
Okay. Yeah.
Pike is like, I guess, and even Spock appeared on Discovery, I guess.
Yeah.
This version of Spock. I never really got into Discovery. But I guess Pike knows his future, that he knows that he will die at some point. Like, or end up in that
machine. Yeah.
The Dalek thing.
I wonder if they're going to change that. I kind of hope they do, because I like this version of Pike. Star Trek has never really had any problems pulling a rabbit out of the hat. Like they've brought Spock back to life after he died. I
love it. They're like, you can't do that. They can do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
And then the best thing, they could just say, oh, well, this is the Kelvin universe, or this is the universe where the evil version has a big goatee. This is the mirror. Oh, there was a rumor they thought that like it was going to be revealed in the movies, because it was like a little edgier or something like that. That in the second movie, people thought the rumors was that it was going to be revealed that we were actually watching in the mirror universe. That could have been a cool little spin, but they didn't do that. I don't know. I mean, I like the show. I like the nurse.
Oh man, she's amazing. Jess, her real name is Jess Bush. She's an Australian actress.
Jess Bush.
Yep. Yeah. So she's like super pretty, and
she's getting it on with Spock now.
Yeah, the character's real interesting. The guy who plays Spock does a great Spock, but he's so different, than the Spock we're used to.
He's younger. And, well, I love my only thing I had an issue with, and like I said, I don't have like a super strong opinion on the show. I like it, but it's not like, how dare they change the lore?
Right.
I don't really care that much. I don't know. like, when the characters from Lower Decks show up, they
Yeah.
actually, because Lower Deck's supposed to take place like after Voyager or something like that. It's like it's post Next Generation, it's post Voyager. I think, and they even said, they said it was like 150 years in the future or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it begins as a cartoon, which is the Lower Deck cartoon, and then the one guy gets sucked into a portal, and he ends up, in live action. Thankfully, they casted some notable actors and actresses to actually do the voices to begin with, like Jack Quaid, who's on The Boys. He's great. He was in the episode. Mm-hmm. It was just like odd, but it was like just like a goofier episode.
Little gimmicky, yeah.
Like I like that when he would see Spock smile. It was like really off-putting. It was like really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little gimmicky. I mean, I feel like they're like, I don't know, we need to get people to watch this dumb cartoon. Like, let's have them do a crossover. I don't know.
It just seemed, I don't know how I feel. I mean, I kind of agree. I like it fit this show to me in that it is kind of, it's not like lighthearted, but it's like a throwback to like how TV used to be, and that's that's like a classic trope in like genre TV, is to do a musical episode or something like that.
Yeah, so, I just felt like the musical episode, my only real issue with it was that it felt too early in the series to do an episode like that. Like, that's the kind of thing you do in, like, I don't know, season 4. But again, who cares? I'm not. There's no, it's like, I just think it was kind of silly because I've seen this like too many times now.
Yeah,
they did it on The Flash. It was actually kind of funny because they had Supergirl team up, and both her, the girl who played Supergirl, I forgot her name, who played The Flash, both started out on Glee.
That's right, yeah.
So, and then they brought one of the people from Glee, played like I forgot the name of the villain, like the Maestro or whatever.
Yeah.
Like kind of a musical episode. So it was funny because it was like all of them were from fucking Glee.
Right.
And it was actually like done really well.
Amy Benoit, I think her name is.
Yeah. And then there's the famous Buffy episode.
That was great. Yep.
And again, that was like what, season 5?
5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah, it was later on the series. I just thought it was a little early to do a gimmicky episode. I do like when they reference it though and make a joke about like, don't you dare start singing.
Right.
It was well done.
Yeah.
I just like, it's funny when like you could tell who the good singers are and who the ones that are just like, that's not mine, but you don't want me singing.
Yeah.
Like the woman who plays her is a really good singer, Becca Romaine, I don't remember if she sang too much.
I don't know. Anyway, I tend to agree. It was a little out of place, but it didn't ruin it, only because like I said, I mean, I just really like the show, but it's not like you said, it's not like Severance where I just see it as like a really intellectual, perfectly done piece where like all the parts fit together perfectly.
Insane cliffhanger. You're just like,
you're
like looking for that next episode.
And so like, given this show and how I feel about it, I'm cool. I mean, I'm just glad they're making it. It's fun. It.
So the big thing that's been kind of lingering, and again, these shows, like you said too, you talked about this in the first season. We talked about this before about like how one thing you like about it is that it isn't, that the show is more episodic. Like there are like lingering themes and characters and things that get referenced in next episodes, but you could just watch an episode properly.
Yeah.
And then there's like what they call like the lore episode. Like it kind of almost plays more like Buffy, where Buffy was, you would have the villain of the week, and there would be some like ongoing with the big bad or whatever that would be seeping on in the background here and there once in a while. Then you would have your lore episode, and it would be like they would call them like, mid season finale, and then then the last 2 episodes would be like your season finale. This show kind of has that same feel.
Yeah.
And, you kind of get that with the Zorn.
The Gorn.
Zorn is a rotisserie chicken place from Long Island.
No, you're thinking of the Zarn, who is the light creature from Land of the Lost.
Oh, I thought that was the Gagor. Oh, that was like the wolf from. No, that's Land of the Lost. I was thinking the Neverending Story. Now.
Yeah. Land of the Lost was the Zorn or the Yarn, the Zorn.
Sleestacks?
No, remember there's a creature that crashed a spaceship in the swamp. He was just made out of lights.
I did not see a lot of those episodes.
Oh, man.
And
all right, anyway,
I only paid attention when I was very little when that was on, and I just wanted to see the 2 seconds of dinosaur claymation.
Yeah.
I did not really care for the show itself.
No, the Gorn is the lizard-like, insect-like lizards that were rebooted in this show.
Yeah, like that's the famous thing is the thing Kirk fights in Star Trek.
Yes.
It's cheesy looking. But then they like said that never really was a Gorn or something.
Yeah, they in season 1 they tried to play it off like, well,
they never actually seen one. But this show takes place. Remember, this show is supposed to take place before the original Star Trek series.
Yeah, and the Gorn were real well known in this show. Like everyone knows who the Gorn are.
But they never seen them, right? Wasn't that like the whole?
Not until this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because last season there was some weird alien. They're like, "Is that a Gorn?" And it wasn't. It was a very strange looking design.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I hope that's not a Gorn. Because I had like a tiny face. It was super weird looking.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I like this one either. One, they get attacked by these little ones, and they're really animalistic as babies.
Right.
They're almost like
they attack each other. They're just like
they're like they don't. I guess they evolve as they become older. Like
I
I
think they're trying to make them like
raptors or something when they're little.
I think they're trying to make them like the creature from Aliens.
Well, and I do like, and that is interesting because you're like, these things are. They even said it like they have hyperdrive, they have ships, they have technology. Clearly, though, I'm just like, how does a race, like species, even survive when like they get all taken out as kids? Because they're all like. Their brains aren't. I don't know. It's like I mean, our brains when we're younger are not developed.
True.
Anyway, some never get developed, as we'll talk later in the podcast about that. So it is a fun little twist on that. But like, you take it to a more extreme. We don't have sharp teeth and nails and awesome tail that could whip you.
True.
I don't know. I kind of wish it didn't rely so much on CGI. I guess like I wish it was a little more humanoid looking. I bet you they'll be a little more humanoid in the next season when they become more of they have to interact with it more. It won't look as like as lizardy as it did.
That could be
as it did.
Well,
go ahead. What?
They have some wiggle room there. They could say, this could be a further evolution if they wanted to put, a man in the suit or whatever. They can play with this.
Yeah. Give it more of a face that humans can recognize. So a little more,
Right.
Like, it's kind of funny too, because like, okay, the funny thing, the great thing about Star Wars versus Star Trek was Star Trek always had a budget that it had to work with to make TV, and sometimes the aliens just looked like shit. They just they weren't there yet. Like the Klingons, we know did not look like that until the first Star Trek movie. That's when the real Klingons. I remember they did an episode in Deep Space Nine. They did a gimmicky episode where they traveled back to like an episode and they literally edited they edited them into the episode in the 60s one. I forgot which. I think it might have been the Tribbles.
I remember this. Yeah,
remember this? And it was like a big deal because this is around the time Forrest Gump came out, so it's like let's edit people into things. And I haven't seen it. I don't know if it holds up. I remember the episode was kind of fun, but there's a scene where you see the Klingons from that era, and they talk to Worf, and they're like, "What's the deal with that?" And Worf's just like, "I'd rather not discuss it." I think they have like kind of come up with some bullshit for that. Because in the original 60s series, the Klingons just had like bushy eyebrows and goats.
Yeah. They were like caricatures of Russians or something.
Yeah, they were a little tan. It was like but they didn't have like, I don't think they had the foreheads yet. They didn't have the
yeah.
They were working on a very thin budget. Now Star Wars, though, the one cool thing about Star Wars is that like a lot of the designs they came up with in the Star Wars series in the first movie, like the Rhodians, the Hammerheads, and all these things. Like obviously, when we see them now, they look way superior to that cantina scene.
Right.
In that, you know, the poorly lit cantina scene where like it hides like the seams and you know
buttons
and shit. But the designs were there, and they didn't have to like totally rewrite the designs. You know, like the Gorn,
right.
Like Kirk's fighting this like cheesy monster in a suit. You know,
yeah.
Of course they have to they're not gonna like.
No, you're not gonna get that again.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
What else to say about it? I like it. I guess. Do you know if it's affected by the? I'm assuming all these fucking shows are going to be affected by the writers and actors strike. We're not going to see Star Trek probably till like 2024.
Yeah, I bet you're right. I read an article because after the last episode aired, I was like, "Is that it?" Like, I didn't know if that was the end. And because it ends on a cliffhanger, and I googled it, and they're like, no, it's coming back for season 3. It's just going to be a while because of the strike, and I don't know when that's going to get resolved. I hope it gets resolved soon.
It stinks, man. I think like, people are going to be very upset next year when like, and 2025 is going to be pretty shitty when it comes to movie and TV because you're going to have, if the writer strike ever ends and the actor strike ever ends, you're going to have projects that are going to get rushed because they have to get movies and TV shows out. And I don't know if anybody remembers, but there was a lot of bad movies that came out in 2000 because the last writer strike was like in 2008, early 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of bad movies that came out in like the end of 2009 and 2010 up to like 2011. They even said it like, pick a movie and anyone could tell you it was the victim of the writer strike. Wolverine, what was it? The first Wolverine movie, which that movie's been panned to death. Like it's like almost like a joke. Transformers 2, which was considered the worst one in the series, believe it or not. Like there's a lot of movies that just were not very good. Also a lot of projects that were killed. I didn't talk about this last time, but like there was a Justice League movie that they were George Miller was working on it.
I remember this,
Well, I'm pretty sure it was George Miller. That's Furiosa, right? That's
the guy who did Mad Max,
and Babe, Pig in the City. I don't know if he did the sequel. I know he did the first one.
He also did an episode of Caillou, I think, in season 3.
That was a great episode when the War Boys.
Yes. Well, Caillou was the original Knock.
Caillou actually, well-known fact, is a young version of Mortem Joe.
Yeah, true. It's an origin story. Yeah. So anyway, it was an origin story.
Yeah.
It was a
but I mean, like, there was an awesome Justice League movie that was supposed to get made, and they did photo shoot tests, they had storyboards, and they killed it. They totally killed the writer. Like they had it all casted, everybody was ready to go, and they were like, "Nah, we're just not going to do it." I mean, who knows? Maybe it would have been terrible. I have no idea, but I think it would have definitely changed the course of DC movies.
For sure,
for the better or worse, but. So yeah, man, it sucks. Like I feel like any of these shows have like cliffhangers, like just know for a fact that we're gonna be waiting because I don't see this ending anytime soon, man.
There doesn't seem to be any movement.
Do not want to budge, and they really want to abuse that AI shit. They really want to have a foothold on they really want to crush these unions. They really want to like change how profits are done. And I get like, listen, the reality is like the way these things are made now, like, I don't know what home releases, if that makes a lot of money. Remember how big the home DVD market was?
Yeah.
Well, if you went back 10 years before that and you talked to an executive, they'd be like, what are you nuts? Like, it wasn't until like the first Batman movie came out. I think the first Batman movie was considered one of the first. So they didn't really have a home market. Like, I remember going to like Suncoast Video, and like you can buy like the videotape for Short Circuit, and it costs like $120.
Oh yeah, I remember I bought a Raiders of the Lost Ark DVD, and not DVD,
VHS, right?
VHS, and it was like $100, and that's back then. It was like $100.
Yeah, because they called it like popular price. That's how they first started doing it.
Yeah,
and the Batman was the first movie to do that. Even like, remember when like DVD seasons would be released as a box set?
Yep, I do. Yeah,
they were like, if you went back years before, they'd be like, "What are you, nuts, man? We could sell like," because back then it would be like, you were lucky if there was like 4 episodes of a show on a videotape.
Yeah,
a season would cost you like $1,000.
Well,
and they just saw these things as like, we're losing money, because like, if I buy a DVD and have 6 people over, they are like, we lost 6 sales because of that. That's how they would look at it.
Yeah,
and obviously they wisened up. The people were buying things left and right. And then streaming comes along and it changes how things are done. But like, again, I think what we know as streaming is probably suffered a lot. Streaming did very well during the pandemic, of course.
Yeah.
And now people, they're like, even said like, oh, the ratings aren't that great. And it's like, yeah, it's because it's summer. People are
there's
out.
that. And people also it's like, I went to look at something. I was going to watch this show called The Winter King, and
the one who weaves the wind.
And I'm looking it up, and it's like, it's on MGM Plus. I'm like, what the fuck is MGM Plus?
Yeah, I know what you're talking. I never even heard of it like till the other day. I was like, that's
and then I'm looking at like, okay, I got rid of cable because it was costing me $200 a month.
Yep.
And I replaced it with Hulu, which at the time was like $50 a month.
Now it's like 70, right?
Now Hulu's like 70 or 80 a month. And
this is Hulu Live, not regular.
Yeah, right. It's regular Hulu Live. And now I have like Netflix, I got Apple, I got all these subscriptions. I'm like creeping back up. I'm not gonna go out and buy fucking MGM Plus. I mean, like, fuck that. Like, why would I?
Only way I would do something like that is I would get it for a month. If they had a bunch of content, I would get it for a month and then drop it. Like, they already announced they're going to jack up the price of Disney Plus.
Yeah.
They're going to jack it up. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe I don't do a year and I just get it. And like, get it when like a new Marvel show's on, because like, I don't watch Disney. I hardly watch Disney Plus. I forget that like there's a lot of other content like the Simpsons.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. I never have the urge to watch. I don't know. I used to, but like, I just don't have the urge to watch it. Like, I only really go on Disney Plus when like a movie drops, like a Marvel movie or Avatar dropped or whatever. And then like when there's a Marvel or a Star Wars show. And I don't think I want to pay more than what I was paying.
No.
So maybe I will drop it and then just get it.
If it weren't for their extensive hentai collection, I would have dropped it already.
Well, it was a known fact that Walt Disney, besides being a Nazi sympathizer,
loved tentacle porn.
Loved cocky. This is a known fact. This isn't a fact. You can look it up. It's there, man. It's there. You know what? And if anyone says that's not true, well, it kind of feels true.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't even know that his very first animated feature was Steamboat Bukkake. And
like when he's like
right.
And it was big old splooge and Pete like Bukkake.
Well, the first theme park, that was the main attraction, Splooge Mountain. And
what the fuck? Splooge Mountain.
So, well, anyway, no, you're right. It's just
Walt hated It's a Small World. He hated it because he wanted things big.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, okay, so I guess we should transition into our next big news of the week was Trump got indicted.
No streaming service, no sport, no movie, no TV show, whatever can compete with the never-ending saga.
Oh man,
that is the Trump in politics.
Yes.
He has dominated the fucking decade. This fucking guy was able to latch onto the Obama presidency and turn it into he got so big from that, from just constantly just being a huge fucking racist. And then he runs for president, and his presidency is just shit, and it leads to fucking COVID.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. He's like at the nexus of so many terrible things.
He is. I love all these Republicans are like, oh, the economy was so great under him. No, it wasn't. And
you gotta be kidding me.
If COVID didn't happen, this still would have been a recession. They said that. And I heard constantly the entire time it was a zombie economy.
Yeah.
He was running up the steam of the Obama's last semester. Last, I don't even know what you call it now. What is it?
Yeah, term,
yeah. The last semester. Yeah, Obama's in school. The last season of Obama.
Yeah.
The last season, Trump came in.
Yeah.
Turn. This is the darkest timeline.
I could see him. He could star on a reboot of like Head of the Class. He could be the Herman Hesse character.
Trump?
No, Obama.
Oh, yeah. Why not?
He'd be pretty good at it. Yeah.
Trump would play the who's that guy that was on Head of the Class and he ended up turning into like a huge creep? That big dude. He was from Better Off Dead. He played
yeah. Who was
that guy? I forgot his name, but he I guess went on to produce like a ton of shows from Nickelodeon, and it came out.
Yeah.
Massive creep. That Trump would play that role.
Well, okay, so Trump got indicted for a fourth time.
And this one includes like 10 indictments or something.
Yeah, he is actually. I got it right here in front of me. Donald Trump was indicted on 13 counts, and Rudy Giuliani was indicted on 13 counts, and then there's a bunch of other people.
Rudy Giuliani.
Some of them are pretty minor but terrible. Like this one woman, Trevian Cuddy, got indicted for 3 counts. I saw some film of her today. She, those 2 election workers, the poll workers. I forget their names, but they were just like regular poll workers. And a bunch of chuds like invaded their homes and stuff and threatened them. Anyway, there's 3 people that visited them, and they really tried to coerce them into like lying and say that they were shifting ballots around and everything. Those people are probably going to go to prison for a long time, which is really great news. It's just like anyway. So the big difference here is that these are state charges. And the other big difference is that this woman, the prosecutor, what's her name? Fawny. I used to say Fanny, but I guess it's Fawny Willis, right? Is that her last name?
I don't know. I honestly don't know any of these fucking names. I can't keep track of all these.
Well, it's weird. I didn't know much about Fawny Willis ahead of time, but I do remember I did not like her. She's the one who prosecuted all those teachers in Georgia.
I did hear that. Yeah, okay, so she's the one that, because I was watching something and they said she was terrible, but she is doing something really good here.
I think that's honestly, it's probably true that she is just following the law. Like what those teachers did in Georgia was illegal. And
what did they do? I don't remember that.
They would change test scores because back then schools got funded based on.
That is like wrong.
It's wrong. It's objectively wrong. Like it is wrong that
not to be a square.
It's wrong that schools get
not to be the guy who asks for homework on a Friday at the end of the day, but.
It's wrong that schools got forced into testing kids like that. I don't believe in standardized testing like that or high stakes testing. But like the correct answer isn't to forge scores and get bonus checks.
Forge scores and 7 checks ago.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was my anger at the time, is that there's this huge bullshit corrupt system, and the 20 people that went to jail are public school teachers. And I'm like, that is bullshit. It should be Betsy Voss or DeVos or there's a bunch of people you could throw in jail instead of these people,
Yeah.
But anyway, it's probably a good sign because like she just follows the law. But what she's really good at are these RICO charges. These RICO charges are brutal. And the irony is that Rudy Giuliani really pioneered the use of RICO charges to dismantle criminal enterprises. And now he's going to get like fucked sideways with a huge stack of RICO charges.
Yeah, I posted that and someone left a comment on my Instagram because it's all about like, oh, that's it. I posted the drawing I did of him a long time ago. I did this drawing a long time ago, but then I updated it with the weird hair dye that drew down. That was like around the time of the what is it? Four Seasons Garden Center, whatever. Yeah. I to that day is one of the weirdest like things. That was like one of the most surreal. He, as fucking shitty as he was, he provided some of the biggest entertainment during that fiasco. Trying to steal the election. He went to that one thing and testified with that weird drunk actress. That was very strange. And
that was crazy.
That woman came from the same place that Boebert comes from.
Yeah.
And then there's the Four Seasons and Garden Center or whatever. What was it? Four Seasons.
Four Seasons, like I think it's Four Seasons, like Home and Garden Center or something.
Yeah, it was the most insane thing, and they did it outside the place. And I'm like, it was supposed to be at a Four Seasons hotel.
Yeah.
And I know, I'm just like, no one said like, hey, you know, we don't have to do this right now. We can just say, listen, we're running a little late. We're gonna talk about this. Give us an hour, or we'll go. And Rudy Giuliani's like, no, we're doing this here. I'm a very serious person.
God.
I'm gonna do this right here. And I said it's crazy that somewhere in the multiverse, Rudy Giuliani died in the year 2003, and there were statues erected of him in every state in the country, and even around the world. Instead, in our reality, Giuliani is going to go to prison for trying to steal an election for a game show host and also getting caught on camera having an erection in front of Borat.
Honestly, you're right. If he had passed away in 2003, the kids would probably be going to Rudy Giuliani Middle now.
Yeah,
you know, in like
it'd be like the Giuliani Center of how to cheat on your wife.
It'd be like the Giuliani Awards each year, like at the Kennedy Center and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like not a joke.
Yeah.
If that guy dropped dead, like if he died or got killed or something happened to him before the year 2007, they would still be like, there would still be like statues up and shit. They'd be like, even if you didn't like him or whatever, it would just be like, yeah, whatever. There'd be an airport named after him. They would have fucking named one of the bridges in New York after him.
Yep.
Like, and now he's just like, SNL did a funny skit years ago where it was like the back of the Christmas tree, the ornaments that end up on the back.
Yeah.
And this guy wakes up. I don't know, it was with Matt Damon or someone. It was a famous actor and he was playing, and I forgot who he was supposed to be an ornament of, but Giuliani was on there too. And he's like, it's me, Giuliani, from the year 2004 or something. And this is like, because this was around the time with the whole Garden Center thing. I think it was like in 2020, and he just totally discredited himself. And that's why I thought that was like really funny that someone would have an ornament of him, but like now it'd be like, just put that on the back.
It's so crazy how much goodwill he squandered. I mean, Trump had
always sucked, but he had all that. He was like immortalized.
Well, he even more than Trump was like well liked or at least tolerated by everyone, you know. So anyway, so Giuliani's going down there now. The big difference, like I said, is that these are state charges and they're RICO charges, and the prosecutor's apparently real good. She's like a very talented prosecutor. It looks real bad for these idiots.
Doesn't the word RICO charges to sound serious?
Oh my God. It hurts. It does. When you hear
what does
RICO
it stand
charges,
for? Does it stand for something?
Racketeering. What does it stand for? It's a racketeering, RICO.
And he used that. That's how he was able to take down like a mob.
The mob. Yeah. Giuliani kind of pioneered the use of RICO charges.
So he must be like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean,
he's got to be like, oh man, I got RICO'd. I was the Rico, and now I'm the Rico-y. Someone left a comment real quick. He said another multiverse timeline diversion happens in 1986 when Vinny the Chin decides to cast the tiebreaker commission vote in favor of whacking Rudy, also getting him statues and historical reference. Going to be watching every mob history video that I can now.
Right. It stands for
that was Giuliani's like claim to fame, right? That's how he literally led to him becoming mayor of New York.
Well, he did. He took apart they invented this RICO statute, and he pioneered using it to take down big organizations. And the thing that makes RICO so devastating is that
I just think of the song Rico Suave.
Yeah, totally. You tie
and the Weird Al version too.
You tie all the actors together, and then things that aren't even crimes become crimes. So like if I drove you to the grocery store, that's not a crime. I can drive my friend to the grocery store. But if you and I were also together planning like some sort of food stamp fraud at the grocery store, then that ride I gave you becomes a criminal act. I mean, it's like, so you can see how like all these things, and you only have to prove a couple of them to get a conviction on a RICO charge.
The best thing about this whole thing is that there's this audio footage. I guess it's audio footage. I don't know what you call it. It's not footage. It's whatever. Audio
recording.
Yeah. Of Trump, and this was played back in 2020 because the whole 3 months before the inauguration, it was just Trump trying to steal the election the whole time, and constantly. It was like 200 times or something. It was crazy, and every time it failed. And there's that audio of him basically asking for like the 11th, a specific number of votes in Georgia, and the right wing is like trying so hard to defend him. There's this one guy. What's his name? He worked for him. He sounds like this, and he's like Bork. No, what's his name? He's a Nazi that used to work for Trump.
Oh, John Bolton.
No, John Bolton hates him.
Yeah.
It wasn't John Bolton. It was this clown, this right-wing clown that like worked for Trump, and he was interviewed recently. He's like, that would be like going and ordering vanilla ice cream.
Oh, God.
Am I gonna get arrested for wanting vanilla ice cream after dinner? That's what you're saying. It's like Trump was just curious, and you're using this against him. And that's the funniest thing. It's like it'd be like if I ordered vanilla ice cream, and it's so. These people it's indefensible. Ben Shapiro, who's such a fucking partisan hack. I mean, I guess we're all partisan hacks, but I'm not I'm not paid for this at all,
right?
In any way. I know Joseph's banking here.
Right.
Baja Blast or whatever that partnership deal he's got going with Taco Bell. I don't know why they would do a partnership deal with him,
right?
Podcast, but like. Ben Shapiro was like trying to backpedal because like I guess there's footage of him in 2014 talking about RICO charges and how we have to go after these people. Of course, he's talking about Democrats. He's
right.
Because he didn't mention George W. Bush once.
No.
But so that footage went out, and he's like, in 2014, I advocated for a full-scale use of RICO to go after various criminal enterprises run by politicians. All right, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to read it. The problem is they ignored Barack Obama, they ignored Hillary Clinton, and now they're currently ignoring Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. It's like no one gives a fuck about Hunter Biden. It's not gonna happen, guys.
Yeah.
Only the most right-wing chud gives a shit about Hunter Biden. If only one side has to play by the rules, and the rules are not rules, they're just a double standard, and they're just a weapon, and the same thing's happening right here. And I said, I don't know, man. None of these people ever publicly asked to steal votes or had their supporters smear feces on the U.S. Capitol.
Yeah, I mean,
you're a partisan hack, and absolutely no one takes you seriously.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, like, look, Trump is just, I mean, in some ways,
both sides of shit.
Yeah, he's so over the top on this. I don't know.
This is the one that can really do him in. I mean, forever we've been like, oh man, this guy gets away with everything. But they said that Georgia was the thing that would probably do him in.
Yeah, they've always said that.
Wasn't that, remember that weird girl that was getting like interviewed and they're like, go away, bitch, you're gonna like ruin the whole thing. Do you remember her? Wasn't that in Georgia? That weird, that really strange girl, they were interviewing her and she was like this bizarre, like, I don't know, like she was like, she made it sound like the whole thing was like partisan and and they were loving her because she was like awful. And
right.
Hopefully, I think they might have threw her in a river or something. She never saw her again. They buried her after that. They tried. I remember that. I was like, oh no, you're gonna like fuck this whole thing up. You're a little weirdo.
Trump world always seems like an SNL deal where they're constantly trying out new characters to see what'll work. You know, like
here's a weird little fidgety girl that is also an employee at Target.
She was lady. She was she was on the jury or something, and she kept on. I know you're talking about now. She was a weirdo.
Rachel Dratch character or something, like or that.
She reminded me of Gilly.
She always played that bar mitzvah kid on SNL.
Yeah, like no, she reminded me more of Gilly.
Definitely a Kristen Wiig character.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, like a weird, just a weirdo. Another like. Kristen Wiig had a bunch of characters, and this was one. She was like, "Yeah, this is too similar." Like,
right. This is too close to Gilly.
Well, there was that one that was a Pinot. Is Gilly the one that would lie all the time? My father.
I think so. Yeah, I think that was Gilly.
Yeah. No, Gilly was the one that kind of looked a little bit like Annie.
Like, what was the one with the real small hands?
That was that wasn't. That one was great. That was like, it was supposed to be like this classic group from the 50s or whatever. And there was these sisters. And the one sister, and she was like all fucked up.
Yeah.
Sure, people would be like, this character did not age well. And I'd say, you know what? Shut up. This was possibly one of the funniest things they did in decades.
Yeah, that was wild.
That was small hands and she had a giant fart.
Yeah, that was it.
Up. And she would like get fucked up teeth, and she would say, like, she would like chime in, and the lyrics are all fucked up.
Yeah, too. She looked like a giant Q-tip. She looked like a giant... Well, okay, so this is I think this is the real deal. Now they are saying, here's the one thing people are saying is that now that she has brought her charges, a lot of people are speculating that she's going to share everything she's learned with Jack Smith, and she's going to let the federal prosecution go first.
But Trump has to surrender, and so does Giuliani, and I think all the other clowns that are on this.
By
next Friday, the 25th. The Republican primary debate, the first one, is on the 23rd. I think it's funny anyway. I don't think it has an effect because I think Trump had no intention of going to it anyway. I can't imagine him going to this now. I feel like he's gotten quiet. He was saying the word rigor, which is like, man, this fucking guy knows his base, dude.
Yep.
Like, those dirty riggers are rig.
Yeah.
Right, Joseph?
Yeah.
You have to say it.
No, I mean,
You have to say that. You have to say it.
Well, here's my theory. On.
I'm not going to say it.
I'm not going to say it. I think he's going to skip the Republican debate and turn himself in as the debate's going on.
Oh, that'd be funny.
And that all the cameras will leave.
If I were Trump, I would sabotage the Republican Party for like the next decade. Like, I would make sure that none of those clowns can. I just think it's gonna be funny. I think this, like, Chris Christie's gonna he's gonna sound like the voice of reason. He's already come out. He's been like, he was smart enough to jump off the Trump train. Mm-hmm. He got like fucking COVID. I remember that. It was at that first debate, and he wasn't taking it seriously. And then he got fucking COVID, and he got bad, And after that, he was like, yeah, dude, get vaccinated. He took that shit seriously. Yeah. And after that, he really just started like not liking Trump. And like I said, I don't like this guy. I don't like his politics. He's not an ally in any way, but I think that he is going to be the most honest Republican on stage. Because all those other clowns are so scared to say anything about the Republican voting, about Trump. But the funny thing about this whole thing is, if Trump keeps saying the election was rigged by those, who were they rigged by? Joseph?
It was so brutal. He went on this tirade.
You better edit out when I said it because I don't like it.
No, he goes and he uses the word. He's talking about a rigged election, and he kept using the word riggers, and it was just so like I had to read it a couple times. I'm like, am I? This clearly is like not a parody, but like, someone trying to make him look bad. And I'm like, no, that's what he wrote. It was just such a bizarre.
It's so ridiculous, but like the Republicans have to now all these jackasses that like in the right-wing media, in right-wing politics, who won't admit that the election was not stolen, or they now have to be like, oh shit, none of these people are going to vote.
Yeah.
30% of the people who voted for Trump are not going to vote.
Right.
30% of them are going to be like, these are the kind of people that still go to his rallies. These people are in that cult. They are like, they will never trust an election again. And the joke is that if you keep going by what Trump says, then you are calling to attention that your election might have been rigged.
Yeah.
Because you're in power. The Republican politician in power claiming that the elections were fraud. You were voted in that year.
Can you imagine being a Republican governor or Republican Secretary of State if your state doesn't go for Trump? I mean, you're fucked.
Funny. Well, that happened with Brian Kemp. His state went to, but Brian Kemp is a total piece of shit. But he's like looking like the hero here. He basically said that like he came out and talked about the elections and everything. But remember, this guy's probably like, you know what? I was smart about stealing elections. I worked. He was what was his position in 2018? He was he was
the Secretary of State.
Yeah, he was the position that the other guy was in that Trump was trying to get.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, Brian Kemp in 2018, throughout the entire year, was like, this guy is running for governor and is using his power to basically remove voters for what was her fate? What's her name? The one who
Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, Stacey Abrams. That election was stolen because not like, it was stolen, like, the votes and they changed it. What he did was he made sure people couldn't vote.
Yeah.
It's probably he's probably like, Trump, you're an idiot. This is how you do it.
Right. Yeah.
No one can claim that I asked to change the vote. They just didn't vote for some reason.
They didn't vote. Yeah.
For some reason, Stacey Abrams was they didn't like her, man. For some reason they didn't show up. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the barriers I put up or the poll stations I closed down or the names I removed from the list. I don't know.
Well, I think you're right that the Republican Party is kind of at a crossroads. They've really set themselves up to be, they're kind of held hostage by Trump. And the people debating are a pretty lackluster group. I think you're right. Christie is
he could end up standing out as the most entertaining one on stage because I bet you he'll be the one that has no problem attacking Trump.
Yeah. Well,
criminal.
Here's the list of people who have qualified for the debate, which is next Wednesday. It's a week from tonight. The qualified is a guy named Doug Burgum.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. That.
Yep, he's a
Will Forte character in SNL.
He's the governor of North Dakota.
What is that? A state? What is that?
Yeah, it's the state right above South Dakota.
How many sheep and cows voted for him?
Yeah, right. So he's the first one who's qualified. Then we've got Meatball Ron.
He sucks on every level.
Oh yeah. Think of. And then Nikki Haley.
She is about as exciting as a boring episode of Veep.
Yes. Yep. Then you have Tim Scott.
That guy sucks on many levels. He was being interviewed after the Hawaii wildfire, and he was like, "What about this out of control border?"
Yeah, right.
There's so many weird conspiracies about him that he is really Lindsey Graham's secret husband. Have you heard that one?
No, but
Yeah, it's really funny. I
That
don't
is funny.
believe it. I think like 90%, especially the conspiracies that get thrown out today, are all bullshit because they're like ridiculous. But this one's funny.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Because this guy's not like married and like he's really weird when you ask him about, like, if he had a girlfriend, and everyone knows Lindsey Graham is
right.
What was his name? Lady J or
Lady G?
It's so ridiculous. It's like, come on, like it just sounds like they're just making this shit up.
Yeah. And the last person to qualify is Vivek Ramaswamy.
That guy I could see getting some attention because he's young and he'll probably like just be somewhat charismatic. Did you see that cringe footage of him rapping at Iowa?
Yeah. Yeah.
That guy, he sucks. He's the one that wants to raise the age of voting to like
25 or something.
So no one says capturing the youth vote. Like the idea of like, I don't want you to legally allowed to vote.
Now, the other people that have met the qualifications but have refused to sign a loyalty pledge include, and they refuse to sign for different reasons, Chris Christie, Mike Pence, and Donald Trump.
See, Chris Christie, that refusing to sign is a sign that has no problem coming out and talking shit about Trump.
Yeah, he won't vote for Trump.
Mike Pence, probably the fact that Trump tried to have him killed that day.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's a little miffed by that.
Yeah,
but mother wasn't happy that day. And then Trump, because Trump has no loyalties and is a vile piece of shit.
Yeah,
and refuses to recognize free and fair elections in any way whatsoever.
Well, my guess is that the debate's going to be fascinating. I do think it'd be funny if Trump turned himself in right when the debate started, because
that would be brilliant.
All the cameras would go to Trump and away from the debate.
Yep.
It would prove his point that no one cares about these other people.
Yep.
I'm a little surprised people aren't speculating that he's going to do that. Anyway,
I can see that would be that's brilliant TV right there. Again, I want this man to be flogged. He is. I'm sorry, like, other people be like, oh, all these other politicians are shit, they're all bad, they do this, they just he did all that and worse. And the guy is nefarious. He has done more damage to this country than any of our foreign adversaries have done.
Yeah.
That's why I say this to this day. He is a fucking puppet.
Yeah.
He is like just what they call a puppet with no strings, or doesn't realize he's a puppet.
Yeah. I mean, it's he's something.
He's opened the door to all this rotten shit. And he's opened the door to all these Republicans putting in these horrible policies over the years and just literally bringing fascism, anti-Semitism, extreme homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia, bring it to the point where it is that half or a third of the population of the United States thinks it's acceptable to say this shit without having faced any implications.
He's responsible for DeSantis. I mean, he's kind of next on our list to talk about anyway, but DeSantis is like, he's just as bad as Trump. In some ways, he's worse. And we never would have had a DeSantis if it weren't for Trump, I mean,
I think Florida still would have voted for some shitty Republican no matter what. You got fucking Rick Scott as governor for 2 terms, and they voted for him for Senate. So it just shows that if it wasn't DeSantis, it'd be some other piece of shit. I just don't know if they would be such performative chuds the way he is. I mean, like, everything. This guy, like, okay, so the best thing too is I hope that the one best thing that Trump can do is just totally fuck over the Republican Party to the point where they can't even run a proper candidate.
Right.
Like just totally dismantle them, that they lose like almost every purple state, blue, you know what I mean? Like they lose the House next year. They lose.
Well, the hiccup here will be if the trials are going poorly for Trump, and they will, and let's say someone else gets the nomination out from under him. I could see Trump throwing all his support to whoever gets the nomination simply because that's his only shot at the pardon.
But they can't pardon him for Georgia.
No, right? They can't.
He's fucked. That's why this Georgia one is the best thing to happen, because the joke is like this asshole's running for president so he can pardon himself.
Right.
But the joke is that if he even became president, he still would not be able to pardon himself for Georgia. And Brian Kemp hates his fucking guts.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think they fucked themselves by they're like, oh, why isn't Biden why is he quiet about this? I'll be honest, I haven't paid enough attention to realize has he put anything out? I mean, he's been focused on giving funds to Hawaii and stuff like that. I'm sure he's probably like, I don't need to say anything. These people are just going to implode on themselves.
Why? Yeah. Why would you? If this is what your enemy is doing, let them do it.
If anyone asks, he would just probably be like that thing he kind of does, where he just kind of laughs and leaves.
Yeah.
He'd be like, I don't know, maybe they shouldn't have.
Not today. Not today, Jack. He just
maybe,
like,
I don't know. Maybe don't vote for a criminal for.
Yeah.
Let a criminal run your party.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's
it's all these fucking clowns. Look at that dumb lawyer, that woman that she's part of that whole QAnon shit.
Talking about Sidney Powell.
Yeah, isn't she one of them too?
She is. Yeah. The people that are indicted are let's see, I have a list here. The big names are Trump, Rudy Giuliani, Kenneth Chesebro, Mark Meadows,
he's making up names now.
Sidney Powell, John Eastman.
Is Lewandowski one of them?
No.
Oh man, that would have been awesome. That guy's such a douchebag.
I was thinking that they would get Roger Stone too, and they didn't. Jeffrey Clark.
Roger Stone has never I feel like he's just kind of been like a personality these days and doesn't.
Yeah, but like that's the thing is like with RICO charges, it really broadens who you can charge. And
they could get like Alex Jones then.
Yeah,
Alex Jones like glued to the hip to Roger Stone.
Yeah, so I don't know. But it'll be.
I love when the Republicans are like, when you see like Boebert and then they're like, if they could do it to him, they could do it to you. And
right.
You're like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah.
What?
I've never interfered in an election.
I've never been a president.
Yeah.
I never had the ability to get thousands of people to try to destroy the Capitol.
Right.
Like, I have a hard time getting my kid to like brush his teeth. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I sit there and I'm like, if Trump, if they could do it to him, man, they could do it to me too. What are they going to do to you?
Yeah.
It's so stupid. What a dumb fucking thing to say.
Yeah,
but then again, these people are fucking idiots. They know it. They know these fucking people are idiots.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, the Ron DeSantis thing. Okay, so one of the things, we'll move on at this. Not much to say. The guy, the best thing about Ron DeSantis is that he's proven that no one likes Ron DeSantis. I still think he's a threat until he is, until he drops out. Like I said, I'm sure him and whoever works for him still probably thinking like, stay in, because once Trump is, arrested or gets to the point where he cannot run a campaign, because the joke is Trump will never not run. He'll stay in the race all the way up till the last primary vote. He won't be doing rallies or doing anything, but his name will be on the fucking ballot, and he will probably end up winning the primary anyway.
Yeah, I would think.
And DeSantis, people are probably like, just stay in. They're gonna like, you'll get all the people, and it's like, no, these people are not gonna vote for you.
No, if he wins the nomination, he'll only get like 2/3 of the Republican electorate.
Maybe.
Yeah,
and it's like, why would you vote? Why would you? If you don't believe elections are real anymore, look what they did to Trump. Look what they did to him.
Mm-hmm.
They could do that to him. They could do that to you. And like, but DeSantis, so I guess that something came up and he's like, he said that he's moved on from Disney or something.
Yeah.
But Disney has a lawsuit against him, right?
Yeah.
You know what it's for?
It's a freedom of speech issue. They said that that DeSantis is targeting political speech.
Yeah.
Well,
I hope they sue the shit out of him. I'm glad he's fine with it.
DeSantis is getting sued by a lot of people. There's a lot of court cases going forth against DeSantis, against the Florida government, and now more and more people. He's slowly beginning to realize that his woke bullshit, like anti-woke crusade, it just doesn't resonate.
Anything. Doesn't.
Yeah.
You want to just talk about this then? And then we'll move on to Hawaii after. Why don't we talk about the schools, since it kind of is in the schools and everything, what's going on in Texas and all that, and just any Arkansas where what was it in Arkansas? They basically got rid of like
African American history.
That's insane.
It really is crazy because
go ahead.
It started a long time ago when conservative states like Texas and Florida would demand that school books adhere to their ideology. They would want things like, they would want on both sides the Holocaust or shit like that.
Both sides slavery, both sides the Civil War, which was a project done by like the Daughters of the Confederacy, like decades ago.
So for years, California, like a lot of progressive states, they never made demands on these textbook publishers. They just assumed that historians would get together, produce a book, and then people would buy it. But states like Texas and Florida would say, well, we're not buying any books that say slavery was about race, and so because they're such huge states, the textbooks would come out and all these other states would buy them too.
Yeah.
So like, Maryland may be a progressive state, but they're going to have to buy textbooks that were geared towards Florida. Anyway, Florida went on a big run. They got rid of a bunch of university people. Now a lot of the universities in Florida are run literally by non-academics, people that never worked in higher education.
All right-wing ideologues.
All just right-wing talk show hosts and ideologues, and very few of them have any background in the subjects
Some of them don't even have fucking degrees.
Yeah. It's really embarrassing. And they've gotten rid of African American history. They've shut down libraries. I mean, they've really just done a number on the schools, and parents are overwhelmed. Even good parents, you can be as progressive as you want, but like, if you don't have a ton of money, what are you going to do? You got to send your kids to school. You can't afford a private school. They're stuck.
I know the right wing trying to put all these things, they work in there's like a bunch of bonus things that the right like about what they're doing.
Yes.
One, they want to distort history. They don't want people. This is a white country. That's how they see it. It's a white Anglo-Saxon country. It was founded by good white Christians. That's how they see it. And they don't want to be told. They don't want their precious little children to be told that, slaves were bad. The whole idea of slavery was bad.
Right.
They don't want anyone to know that. They don't want them to know why there's a Klan robe in there in the attic, Grandpa's Klan robe, or like, what's that about? They don't want them to know about that. They don't want kids to be educated. They don't want them to learn about things. They don't want to learn about Black history or anything like that. It is the idea that like teaching like slavery is a choice is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
This is a little unrelated, but Michael Flynn, who is part of the whole,
I saw this yesterday. Yeah.
Where he was at something and he said that like he basically blamed the Jewish people not for the Holocaust, but for allowing themselves to be taken in by the Nazis, like as if they just thought like, oh, we're just going somewhere. Oh, this is our fault. Yeah. It's insane. What a fucked up thing to say. Like, what? it totally removes the fault of, you know, the Nazis.
Yeah.
And racists, and puts it on the victim. It's disgusting. It's
the same argument as like, well, what were you wearing, you know, before you got assaulted? You know, like,
what were you wearing? Oh, that low top? No, that's your fault. Yeah.
Well, the schools are being targeted. I mean, they have been for a while, but it's really depressing, you know, and
but this, and again, this is all meant to destroy public education too.
Yeah.
You know, that family, you said that's like, well, I live here and I can't afford to send my kid. Oh, well, now there's a school voucher, but the school voucher, it still sucks. It doesn't, you know, it's bullshit.
Yeah. Well,
they don't want to provide an education. They want a permanent piss on class.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I know in the on past episodes I've talked about, like, well, these parents shouldn't take it, you know, but like I mean, I get how, like,
it's easier said than done.
It's easier said. I get that. I mean, I know that, but it's real stunning. I mean, like the superintendent in Houston, they elected a superintendent, but Greg Abbott said, no, you're getting a new one. My buddy Mike Miles, the guy's a clown. That's terrible
the one
at his
that wants to get rid of libraries and turn them all.
He did it.
He did it, right? It's actually happening. We talked about that a couple episodes ago. They basically want to get rid of all the libraries in Houston. I guess they did it, and they want to turn them into basically like a detention center.
Detention centers. And anyway, they've been showing on TikTok. There's a lot of footage of the first few days at school in Houston. There's no teachers available. A lot of them just didn't come back. They got other jobs. There's millions of kids in the hallway with like nowhere to go. The lunch lines
all done on purpose. These people are so fucking evil. It's unbelievable.
So I guess that's where I'm coming from, is like, if the schools are like not effective anyway, then why aren't these kids marching on this guy's office? You know, why aren't they throwing rocks through his window? I mean, I know I'm kind of like speaking kind of with hyperbole here, but I don't know. It's just frustrating, and it's this coordinated effort. You saw it in Arkansas today or yesterday. They talked about getting rid of African American history.
That's insane.
It's state after state.
It's so gross. And this is also, don't forget, Arkansas is also the state that basically made it legal to basically hire like a 14-year-old or 13-year-old or something like that.
Well, Arkansas is the birthplace of the Klan. That's where the Klan started.
Well, you got that fucking beast as the governor.
Yeah.
Beast. I don't know. She literally is a beast. I mean, not like because she's, you know, gross. I mean, like, she is gross.
She looks like basket case.
How did she know? Belial? What are you saying this? I don't know when people like post the clips of it of him coming out of the basket. It's like the shittiest puppet. It's so
well, I don't know. My fear isn't like you and I were talking beforehand, like, if my kid doesn't get a good education in school, I can fill in the blanks. Same with you. You know, you were talking about how you had like some background in like these different things, and you can kind of coach your kid through it. But like,
what you're talking about, you sure you're talking to the right person?
But like,
he's fucked. No, my wife is definitely more the one that can do that work.
But like 15 years from now,
wash your hands, kid. That's my only advice to you. Just wash your hands.
15 years from now,
you're gonna thank me later.
Our kids will be trying to teach, you know, their own kids, like, and they'll only have like third-hand knowledge of some of this.
Yeah, like a photocopy of a photocopy.
Yeah, it'll be like Planet of the Apes or something.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is such a coordinated effort to like just turn a whole peon. This is how you destroy unions. This is how you destroy independent thought. That's what I love when all these clowns are like free thinkers, and it's like, dude, you are literally the opposite of a free thinker. Like, it is insane, the idea of like showing tolerance towards people. That's the intolerance. What?
Well,
what? That's fascism. Being told that we have to accept people, that's fascism. Might want to look up definitions.
my problem is that it used to be, up until recently, I thought, well, a lot of this can be addressed locally. Like you can elect school board members, you can elect your local prosecutors, but now
your local yokel.
Now the Republicans are just, Ron DeSantis doesn't like who you elected, he'll replace him with a far right wing ideologue.
Yeah, he did that twice already. He'll do it again.
Greg Abbott doesn't like who you elected as your school superintendent. They'll just put a new one in.
You tell you though, that fucking guy, I hope he gets sued shit by so many different things, but hopefully if his run for presidency is a failure, it will fucking sink him.
Yeah.
He will lose all clout outside of Florida, and he will lose probably some clout in Florida as well. There will be other people who are going to see him. They're going to see him as weak, and they're going to try to come in, and they will. But he's done, right? After this, he can't run again, right? I'm sure they'll try to change it that he could run for governor again.
They might, but if he fails as bad as he's failing currently, they might not. They might be like, nah, we're good. You know,
the only thing that guy had going for him was he was a copy of Trump. That was it. He was just a copy of Trump, and it was all performative. And the guy, I guess, the joke is running for president. He's trying to not be Trump.
Yeah,
and it's backfiring.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I hope they all kill each other.
yeah. He DeSantis is definitely kind of like floundering. I know when he was on that interview saying like, oh, Disney should just move on, and let's all. I mean, it's bizarre. I mean, he's really dug a deep hole. I don't know. I mean, like I would say he's about to learn a lesson, but he'll never learn a lesson. But he's about to go through some discomfort.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. The problem with people like him, and this is a problem with the Republican Party in general these days, is that and I feel like this started a lot with George W. Bush. They put out people that they take pride that like half the country fucking hates them.
Yeah, they get off on it.
Anything to reach out. Bush really started that. It really started that with 2000, and like he would just all this like pettiness shit. It was there in his 8 years of presidency. It wasn't as extreme. There was still like that pomp and circumstance and graciousness or whatever bullshit. Just your standard like, oh, he was nice to Obama when but he also didn't let them stay at the house. You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Not so gracious there, buddy.
No, he was an asshole. I mean, but you're right.
He's a massive asshole.
He at least kept up some of the niceties,
but all that stuff started with him, with the whole like, you don't have to have the majority of the country like you. And it's true, because the majority of the country did not vote for him in the first election.
Well, it was too a lot of like the people around him, like Karl Rove was a big proponent of that.
He's a horrible.
They lost the popular vote, and they walk in talking about a mandate. I mean, that's
and then he wins by like the skin of his teeth in 2004, and he acts like he won by like a landslide.
Yep.
But that's how they operate. But after that, it was like the Republicans were like, we don't have to try to have a candidate that is likable, that can appeal to anyone. We don't give a fuck. We're actually talking about taking away the right of like all the young people to vote, because we will never appeal to them. That's why this Vivek guy, they're going to try to run him as this like young guy who can rap and do this. Dude, you just said that all the people that you're so trying to appeal to, you don't want them to vote for you. You want to make it that they can't vote for you. So good luck with that one, Vivek. And they're not going to vote for him. He's Hindu. They're not going to vote for him.
No.
Will they vote for him for like Congress? Maybe.
Sure.
Vote for him for like governor?
Well,
depends on the state. But
a district might.
Republican Party, no fucking way are they going to vote for him for president. No fucking way.
No.
No, it has to be a Christian. No fucking way. What were you gonna say?
Well, a district might vote for him. Like if he could find a progressive or an Indian
Progressive
heavy
Republicans, you mean?
Well, I mean, he might do real well in an area that's got like a heavy South Asian population.
Yeah, no one's ever heard of him. So it doesn't even matter. He's a non. But it's just funny, though, that the one guy that maybe could have some appeal to younger people literally came out and said, I want to make it that you legally are not allowed to vote.
Right.
So, I mean, like, that's the funny thing about the Republicans. That's all it's been about with DeSantis and like going after woke and all that. Is like all they did was narrowcast.
Yeah.
And played in the worst parts of the internet and like very niche and specific certain kinds of right wingers. And it's funny because they think, oh, I just need to get these people to vote for me. And it's like, not for the presidential election. No.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like, even like, back in the day when like McCain ran against Obama, you could see like he'd try to appeal to people, try to somehow maybe get people who are a little scared of Obama on the Democratic side vote for him. But like, that doesn't even exist. It's like they take pride in like people not liking him. They think that's like a notch on their belt. They're like, yeah, I'm like the king of shitheads.
Yeah. It's
weird. Trump like took that and ran with it, and then all these other clowns that are not Trump have basically performed that way. It's really funny, actually.
Yeah.
That's why we'll see. I mean, again, I don't want to knock on wood or anything, but as of right now, I think whatever they have to offer is. If I was Biden right now, I'd be just sitting there giggling.
Pretty happy.
Yeah. What?
I'd be pretty happy.
Like, you know what, Jack? I'm gonna have some ice.
Have some ice cream with corn pop.
He turns into like he gains like 400 pounds. he keeps eating ice cream. He's like he has nothing to worry about anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, Biden, he looks a little thick.
Well, they say that Biden has like 4 staffers on his re-election campaign, and he's spending no money, and he's raking a ton of money in because he's essentially
he have to right now.
Yeah. Fuck
Shit.
it.
That's always been the advantage of being the incumbent, was that you had the power of the presidency.
Yeah. Well, all right. So the weird thing here, kind of in the backdrop of all this, has been the Hawaii disaster. It's kind of I feel like it's gotten a little overlooked because the Trump indictment, and
it's not on the mainland.
It's like literally on the other side of the planet. And even if you know about it, it is kind of hard to conceptualize Hawaii. It's like a string of islands.
Hawaii is like, what is it, like 30 islands or something crazy?
Yeah, it's a lot.
There's like the main island, but then there's like all these like small ones.
Well, the main island isn't even the big one. The main island is like the big island is not the one most people live on. It's like there's like Oahu and Maui. Anyway, so this has been a catastrophic disaster. I heard today on the like 6 p.m. news or whatever that about 1,000 people are missing. There may be 1,000 dead people.
Oh yeah, they showed before and after. It's awful. So bananas. Again, this is probably like they said that like they added like they think this was started by like electric fryer or something, or
yeah, I've heard that, and then I heard it was kind of compounded by a series of like failures, basically some failures in planning and some failures in like emergency management, but people are saying that it's a string of bad things.
Well, yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, there's all these kind of fires that are happening now. It's all because like it's either too dry, the air, like in certain areas, and like when it does rain, it rains like it's like these insane storms that come out of nowhere. But we're not getting like these regular rainfalls that would like keep things nice and moisture, and like so all these areas are just uniting in flame, and it's happening everywhere. It's again due to climate change. So the fucked up thing is there's all these conspiracies that come out of it. The right wing cannot right-wing media like Tim Pool and all these people are pushing conspiracies that it was China that did it, actually. China shot a laser and started the fire in Hawaii. That's it.
Well, they need anything.
That's it. Of course, that's it. That makes
anything to take away from the fact that this could be what we have to live with now because of climate change.
Well, those people are all in the pockets of like fracking industry and oil companies and stuff, polluters. So they're all disingenuous and they're all fucking liars.
Yeah. Well, they have an agenda, and it's real easy to muddy the waters, you know. I don't know. It's a shame because I think this is one more big thing of climate change, and you can see why the Republican Party so much loves these conspiracy theorists, because they just throw sand in the mix, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous that newscasts have to spend time on talking about how maybe it wasn't a laser that did this, rather than like just saying that this is what we have to live with now because we use fossil fuels too much.
Yeah, it's like, this is what we're talking about, like education. Like people who are not being properly educated and are not learning any reasoning, and they fall for bullshit like this. Like, oh yeah, of course it has to be lasers from China. That makes total sense.
Well, and a lot of these things just like they fly in the face of reason. Like,
why would they specifically pick this one island in Hawaii?
Yeah,
that's a nice one. No, that makes no sense.
Why not someplace out in Montana? Or like, why? I mean, like, fires start all
like
the time.
Long Island or like
and fires start all the time.
Somewhere in California.
I don't know. It just none of it makes
West
sense.
Coast, erupt the whole West Coast. It could probably be done very easily, actually. Like, why would they pick this one specific island, Hawaii? Oh, because it's the one that's in Moana. So like it's something stupid. Like, it's idiotic. It sucks because there's people who have real pain, real loss, death, and these jackasses trying to like turn everything into a conspiracy. You know, they did it with Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
They want people to have an actual adult conversation of like, you know what? Maybe we should make it easy for people to get like, weapons of warfare. Maybe we need to like remove those. I don't use that for hunting anyway. And
right.
But no, it's not. It's a conspiracy. It's all, and then the Hawaii thing. Oh, clearly, I saw like a clip with Temple, and they were talking about like, like Marjorie Taylor Greene when she claimed about the lasers. Oh, maybe she was right. And it's like, oh my god,
come on,
they're so pathetic.
Yeah,
that's the same guy who, like literally tweeted like Civil War like 1,000 times.
Yeah,
got arrested, and it's like, really, over Trump? Really?
Yeah.
This fucking guy lives on a compound, is like a multi-millionaire. Like, he is not participating in any civil wars.
No.
He's gonna get one or two of his
idiot followers,
to go out and do something stupid and either hurt someone or get killed, or they get killed.
Yeah.
And then he would deny it completely.
Yeah.
What a fucking, that guy sucks.
He's terrible.
He's garbage. And it's funny, people are coming out and saying that, like, because his whole claim to fame was that he was like a reporter for Vice during Occupy. And that's really, I guess that's where he got his name from, was being a reporter. And they said it came out that he was a snitch to the police. So he's always been like a chud.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Hawaii thing is like, I can't even process it. It's like, you see about these fires. Like, remember like a couple months ago when like the skies were red in New York?
Yeah.
New York City.
Canadian fires.
Yeah. Because it comes down, upstate New York. And, Canada's not that far from us.
No.
And I guess it happened again. Not as bad, but it happened again.
Yeah, it was a couple times over the summer. It happened. And you're right. There was one where it was real bad, but there's others where they'd also have effects.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, again, like, until climate change is addressed, we're just going to get more and more stuff like this. We probably get more and more stuff like this anyway.
There's too many clowns that have big platforms that could spread these lies and make it that people, again, it's all about these conspiracies, these dumb right-wing conspiracies that have been coming out for years. The whole goal is to keep your eye off the ball.
Right. Yeah.
So that, and disempower you. Oh, no, it's not the people you vote for. There's a secret cabal of rich Jews that control everything, and you just have no say. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do about it? You can talk about it and complain.
Yeah.
That's like that's like so fucked up. I don't know. Yeah. Speaking of bullshit.
Yeah.
We called it Weird Ginger Chud Singer.
Yeah.
You have this guy's name?
I don't. Let's see. What is this guy's name?
This guy ended up on my feed everywhere.
Yeah. It is Richmond, North of Richmond, I think was the name of his song. Richmond, North of Richmond. What is this guy's name? Oliver Anthony, is that it? Yeah, Oliver Anthony. And he's garbage. I mean, he's just sort of like, I don't know how he got popular. Like, I know music, right? And in every town there's a bunch of good bands that no one will ever hear of. And I'm sure that most of them are like apolitical, and then some are probably pretty leftist, and then probably the smallest amount is like the chud artists,
Chud artist, my favorite artist. This guy, like, it's all AstroTurf. Like, everyone on the right was like pushing it somehow. He's singing the song of the generation. It's really and I guess he was being propped up by some crypto schemer or something.
Yeah. I have heard that too.
Well, I mean, this whole thing is probably a flash in the pan. I don't think we're ever going to see this jackass again.
Yeah.
Stuff came out about him. He's a fucking 9/11 truther who said that Israelis were dancing in the street when that I mean, shock. I can't believe that. I was blown away by that. Actually, I would be blown away if he said the opposite. I'd be like, whoa, I didn't expect that from you.
Right. He just
a little more nuanced and in depth than I thought.
At face value, he looks like he's going to have real shitty opinions. And he does.
He just, I mean, the songs it's his lame ass song, and it's sung like, as if it's just like about the down home struggle of Americans.
Right.
But then, like, the song goes on about, it's in North of Richmond or something, which is like a reference to like the Confederacy or something.
Well, if you talk, I mean, directly north of Richmond is Washington, D.C. So I guess it's like an anti-Washington, D.C. song. But he talks about it from the perspective of Richmond, which was the capital of the Confederacy.
Yeah, okay. So this guy's trash right up the bat.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like there's a lot of coded messages in there.
You listen to it, and one of the lines in the song was about like, like, it's like, I'm like, who wrote this? This is like, it's written by like a douchebag. Like, well, clearly, there's like something about the person being 5'3" and eating like, being on the government.
Yeah.
Like, I'm working so hard, and these people who are only 5'3" and weigh 700 pounds eating chocolate mint cookies or something. I was like, what?
It just struck me as really antiquated. Like, I didn't think that was still a stereotype.
Like, did Rush Limbaugh write this song?
Yeah, it just was like, wow, that's like an early 90s, late 80s.
It's like stereotype. Rush Limbaugh would have wrote, like, oh, see, you work so hard, and there's this 5'3"
It's like,
who weighs 500 pounds and eats off the government.
It's like someone getting mad that kids today sag their pants. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay.
And I love too, like, they try to like package this guy like as if he's some like the man salt of the earth, and like, he looks like someone from Deliverance. Like, it was weird that in the song he said "squeal like a pig." I thought that was strange.
Yeah, that was it's an odd refrain.
That was straight like squeal like a pig. Again, everyone was like making fun of him. There was like one guy who changed the lyrics and said like he worked at the dick sucking factory. I said well, I had a couple of them. One of them kind of picked up a bit. But I did one where I changed the lyrics with a picture of him singing. He looks gross, first of all. He looks like the guy in Burbs. He
looks like Ron Weasley's nutsack. Like
like Ron Weasley, if he didn't shave his nutsack or trim his nutsack
like
7 years.
That would be wow. And that's his head.
His nutsack is taking over his whole body. I changed the lyrics. I said, I pretend to know about economic dread, and some of you will call me a Fed, but I'm really just a GOP psyop, and you'll all find out I have a very rich pop.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And then I said, why is the right wing propping up the weirdo from the Burbs? So,
he does look like that.
Yeah. And I posted, I said, I was comparing the newest Chud megastar to Courtney Gaines, character in the Burbs. Gaines just played a similar character in The Wrath of Becky, a great movie where a teenage girl who kills Proud Boys and Patriot Front members. That's a good movie. You should check it out.
It's called we'll check that out.
Becky. It's a sequel actually to Becky. It's this young girl. I think she's like probably like 13 or whatever, the first one, and she's raised by like a survivalist or whatever, and their dad gets killed, and her house is being invaded by literal Nazis.
Oh, God.
The leader of the Nazis is played by Kevin James, which is kind of funny.
Okay, that's funny, yeah.
And then the sequel came out. It takes place a couple of years later. Now she's like she's like 17 or whatever. And Sean William Scott is the leader of Proud Boys, like Patriot Front type group. And she takes them on. And that guy, he's great in this. And he sings like a song, like a country, he crins like a song just like that guy. That's why I say it's really funny. This fucking jackass, because they knew you'd look down your nose at his vibes rather than call out his anti-poor rhetoric. And I said, the fuck out of here. You want to lead us to crucify him as poor redneck, and that's the point. Because IRL, he's a corpo suit, aping the aesthetic. Said, I'm not an elitist. Bootleg AstroTurf grifters who speak for the power can also look like inbreds.
Yeah.
This guy, like, it's that classic, like, okay, you're talking about like the working class and everything, but then you're just punching down.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, like
from the Heritage Foundation write this for you.
Yeah. It's disappointing because like it's built on grievance. And if you're poor or disadvantaged, then the key for it is solidarity. That's just, I mean, I know that sounds kind of like a slogan or whatever, but like you join together with other people in a similar situation, and through that you overcome the obstacle or whatever.
That's why I don't trust any of those, like anyone who claims to be on the left and media and stuff like that, but then they're like, I don't fall for that pronoun thing, or I don't fall for that. I'm like, that's weird. It doesn't sound like you're trying to it doesn't seem like you're trying to have solidarity. You're what's it called? Inclusive? Is that the term?
It's inclusivity. Yeah. I mean, you like there's a lot of shit I don't understand. Like I honestly still don't understand like the scope of transgenderism but I don't got to. All I got to do is think like, oh, these people are being pushed around.
Exactly. Like, why do you need to fucking know?
I don't need a primer. Are you
curious? Do you want to be? Are you thinking that maybe you're not in your right gender or something? I think that's such a stupid thing. Yeah. Your research. What do you have to do? You fucking weirdo. What, are you just looking up trans porn or something? What the fuck, dude? What a bizarre. People are fucking weird. Like,
all I gotta do is listen to a few people that are of that community, and then you kind of figure out like, okay, this is what they are looking for, and then you do your best to kind of provide it. You know, I mean, it's not a complicated thing.
It's like, I have to do a ton of research on that.
Yeah, like there's a ton of shit I don't understand. That I don't understand how airplanes work. You know, I still get on airplanes and fly. I mean, I do
a lot of research. I had to become an aero specialist.
Yeah, I'd be like, fuck, I don't need to know that shit.
Before I aero engineer, I have no idea.
They tell me to sit down and put on my seatbelt, and then I do that, and then the plane gets me to where I'm going, and then everyone's happy. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, so anyway, when this guy gets up and his whole shtick is like, not, we should get together and
it's more like I named the song is named after something which is a reference to the fucking racist South. And then I said, new right-wing folk hero sensation, Arlo Grifter.
Yeah.
His song, These Boots Were Meant for Licking. I think some people didn't realize I was joking.
Yeah. Probably.
Well, speaking of jokes, hopefully this guy, I know this one girl where it's like, I've seen her on Twitter. She has like a big following with that. She's like, God, I don't want to see this fucking guy on my feed anymore. Like that, he dominated Twitter, but man, there was so many good takedowns. Like making fun of the lyrics and like there was just like this pathetic attempt at the right to like astroturf this guy, and it was just like you said, there's so many musicians out there, way better music. Like, why is this clown? And it's like,
it just made no sense. Like usually when I don't know, it's something seemed like a little astroturfed.
So a lot of these Republican Party people are really just like multi-level marketing scheme artists.
Yeah.
Also, what's it called? Like, where they, junk mail was another word for it.
Like, you're not talking about like mass mail. I mean, like
mass mail, but there's a word for it. But whatever. The point is, like, you send it out, and like knowing that 95% of it will be destroyed, that people are 95% are not going to look, but the 5% that will look, you will get a handsome profit in return. I forgot the term for it, but I feel like a lot of Republicans work that way too. They get this guy to go out there. Most people like reject it, and they're like, oh, this is bullshit. And then there's always like a couple of percent who are like, he's really saying what I believe.
I too am angered by shorter people eating fudge rounds. Like
yeah, I didn't know what to be angry with today. Thank you, Ron Weasley's ball sack.
It's just so weird. Like if you look at the great, and I'm not even talking about the super political
attack on 5'3" people. What's that about?
That was a weird.
That's some.
That was real specific.
No, it's like it's racism. It's because like
I'm
not even fucking.
Well, anyway, it's not like trying to think of like a non-political artist, like a lot of not John Mellencamp, but there's been a ton of artists that like sing for the working man. That's not even political, but the idea is that what?
It's broad. It's like
all the working men kind of get together. It's all based on solidarity. The really good songs, whether they're political or not, are based on like solidarity.
Bruce Springsteen song where he was like, "Born in the USA, except for the 5'3" who eat fudge rounds."
Springsteen can get political, and I guess who's a good example is Billy Joel. Joel will sing songs about like solidarity amongst the marginalized class, and they're not necessarily political.
Well, Springsteen got misinterpreted, where like he's political, but like I still think he like a lot of conservative people probably like him, don't even realize it.
Right? Yeah. No, I agree.
Like Reagan like used one of his songs, and there was like "Born in the USA," and he was like, "Dude, it's not what you think."
It's not. It's a real it's an anti-war song and kind of anyway,
Reagan.
Even like Billy Joel's songs that get like a little political, like Allentown, about closing down the steel mills in Pennsylvania, and so like even those aren't like overtly political. They're just more like we're all in this together. Like that's all his songs are kind of like we're all in this, and a lot of good non-political songs about the working class are based on that. But like these chud songs are based on grievance and segmentation. They're like here I am just picking in and grinning with my steel guitar, making an honest day's work, whereas this shorter woman over there is eating fudge cookies. Like, I mean, like Dude, maybe put down a guitar and go to the Dollar General and get a job or something. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, he doesn't need one because his dad's probably loaded.
Yeah, probably. So, all right. So I do though like the notion of him as like a character the GOP has rolled out, and we may have seen another character rolled out recently in Dallas. Her name is Tiffany Gomez or Gomez.
Gomez. So this is, anyone who wants to know what this is the lady who had a manic episode on a plane claiming that a lizard man was on the plane, and they kicked her off, and there's footage that came out about of her freaking out even in the airport, asking her to leave, and she everything, and then she said that everyone's gonna die in that plane. I'm pretty sure the plane landed. I think everyone was fine, right? Not
everyone was fine.
Where the plane got taken to the future.
Yeah.
So there's some great. Someone made a picture of her saying, "That motherfucker's not real," and the whole plane is filled with like Martian, a jackalope, a unicorn. It's pretty funny, actually. Like, that's a good one. It's like all these different like mythological creatures and cryptids on the plane, and it's just
the best one I saw was on TikTok where they had her doing her thing, and then there's a guy in an airplane seat, and it said 30 minutes after the edibles, and he's just kind of looking around nervously, like he's not sure if he's real, and she's like on to him or something.
Yeah, right. When the edibles drop right there.
Yeah. Right.
That's really funny.
So yeah, she's like kind of a even like in disarray. She's a pretty woman, but she's like a white woman.
That's all that matters.
A wealthy white woman from Dallas.
She's like lives in a $1.6 million house in Dallas. I think she's like a marketing person. So
of course,
a video comes out like a couple days, like Monday, or maybe it was like it might have been even yesterday. I don't know. A video. She puts out a video, like a weird apology. I could not watch the whole thing. It went on for like a while.
It's a lengthy video.
Yeah, she's promoting a website. I don't know if it's like is it an apology? I don't know. It's super bizarre. The thing I found weird about it was she posted on Twitter, and again, just like the way that clown we were just talking about got on the right. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene is like applauding her, and all these other weird right-wing characters. And I'm like, this is sus as fuck. Why would Marjorie Taylor Greene take her time out of day to congratulate the fucking airplane lady? Like, that's bizarre. But then there was all these conspiracies. My favorite, like they say, like that's not her. She looks totally different. Well, it's like, first of all, she's wearing a ton of makeup.
Yeah.
The footage that we saw her on the plane is like not close up.
No, it's a person's cell phone. I mean, it's
it's not even like a good one, or they're filming it on like TikTok, so sometimes it gets like grainier or something. I don't know, like footage quality is reduced. So she's closed up. She's got a shit ton of makeup on. She's not having a manic episode where she's saying that a lizard man's on a plane. I guess her accent was different. I don't know. Whatever. Point being, it is weird because it's like, why are you even saying something? Like, just disappear for a while, go away. Like, maybe someone will find you and be like, oh, it's the fucking lady or something. But I don't know. And like, she has like a website she was promoting. She had like 90,000 followers, and she only had one tweet.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
So I saw a bunch of conspiracies that came out about it, and one of them was pretty good until he got weird in the end. This is where he lost me. He was pointing out, he was looking up the like IP address, or you could like find these out in the code and everything, like where the video was coming from, and he found it suspicious that it was coming out of like a place in Washington D.C. that like blocks away from the White House. And I don't think he's claiming that it's a Biden. It's just more like, I mean, it could be anything. Like, fucking lobbyist group, could be anything. But and then all of a sudden he said, like, the third part, I'm pretty sure it was him still. He's like saying that like this is doing Baphomet, and because like when you see her fingers, the way she's pointing at
Yeah.
fingers up and down, and that's how the Baphomet statue is. I was like, all right, buddy, you had me at the how it's weird that this video is coming from a different location than
Sure.
like it's being put on the internet from a weird place. It lost me at the Baphomet thing.
Yeah. No, I yeah,
There's all these weird. My favorite thing though, and this is hands down, just funny as fuck. This is like possibly one of the funniest things. Scott Wampler reposted it. He goes, community notes feature stays winning.
Yeah.
For the blind posted, you buying that this is the same person and it's her face closed up and then it's her in the distance on the plane, but the readers added context. This user has digitally manipulated the second image to enlarge the woman's breast for some reason. It's the best part of the whole thing.
Yeah, that is great.
One, that somebody did that and posted that, but that there's a community note saying like, well, they enlarged the breast.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Yeah, that is great.
What the fuck? That made me crack up. For some reason, the best. I don't know. For reasons that cannot be explained.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Baphomet. I don't know. But I got stuck. I went down like a rabbit hole a little bit on TikTok, and I stopped real quick. Like, where all these conspiracies about her, but they believed the guy really was an alien on the plane. And I'm like, oh my God. Did I tell you about that coming home?
I don't think.
Okay, so that when I was coming home from, we traveled to New York. First time I've flown in like 4 years, whatever. And we were coming home, and I think it already happened. I think it happened before we left, or it happened when we were in New York.
Yeah.
And I remember they showed the guy at the hoodie. Like you see who I guess she was referencing, some guy in like some green hoodie. And I remember like we were waiting at the airport for a while because the plane was delayed a few hours. And there was this weird looking fucking dude that was going on our plane, sitting there, motionless, wearing like a green hoodie and like big ass sunglasses.
Oh
like
my God.
had like a little rainbow effect. And I'm like, Roger. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. This is like too fucking funny. I'm like, that motherfucker's not he was human. I did
sure.
I think he was just sleeping, but it was funny as hell.
Funny.
It looked like that. It made me crack up. I just don't understand what the fuck is going on here. To me, the conspiracy here is like, why is there a video? Like, what's the point of having this apology video? Why is it being propped up by specific right-wing chuds?
Yeah.
That's the sus part.
There is something, there's like a loose thread there that I can't quite pull. I mean, there's something weird about the whole thing. Like how badly she freaked out is weird. That they didn't arrest her is weird. That she has so many followers but so little content is weird.
Well, that the recently gained those followers.
Yeah,
she had that one video.
Right.
Like, okay, so they kicked her off the plane, and they basically told her, I guess, if she didn't leave the airport, they were going to arrest her. And she finally left. They escorted her out, and that's the whole time she's freaking out, saying how the plane's going to crash and everything. Like, she really fucking believed that some kind of creep. I don't know. What's that? Mr. Gazoo or whatever from the like
the Great Gazoo.
Great Gazoo was on the plane and he was going to crash the plane.
Well,
what? Go ahead. What?
The weird thing is, like, I've seen people in manic episodes or dissociative states or whatever. It can look a lot like that, and it's real scary and it's a real serious thing. But I agree. I did not watch the entirety of her apology video.
No, I couldn't. I was like, all right, this is like.
But like, I could have seen. I did begin it because what I was hoping to see, not hoping like, but what I was hoping to see is for her to say, "Look, I have bipolar disorder.
Yeah, it was on my meds.
I wasn't taking my meds. I'm really embarrassed, and I'm sorry. And instantly, she probably could have made a nice run at the talk shows, and she could have gotten like
mental health. And
she probably could have done real well for herself, but she didn't. She's just like, I don't want to talk about it right now. But and it was like, you're in PR.
Yep.
You're in marketing. You're clearly well put together. You're attractive or charismatic or whatever.
And her breasts were digitally enlarged.
You're well spoken.
For some reason.
Why aren't you seeing, like, even if it's not true, why aren't you seeing this opportunity? You come out with like a mysterious little non-apology or whatever. I mean, it wasn't even an apology. It was just like, and then
here's a link to my website. It didn't have anything.
That was the weirdest part for me, is that like, why are you doing this? Like, why not either fully apologize, blame it on mental illness, just disappear for a little bit?
Disappear.
Like, this seemed like the worst possible decision.
My favorite though is that everyone thinks that too, that this woman was taken out, and this is like not her. That's the other conspiracy. And I'm like, that's kind of stupid too.
Yeah, like, I don't get that.
Like, okay, let's say she did do that, right?
Yeah,
so she did, and the plane did crash.
Wow.
That would then the conspiracy would be like, yeah, that's not her. They replaced her because she was onto it, and this famous plane crash that killed like 200 people, or whatever. And
I might believe that.
And I'd be like, okay, that's conspiracy.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more.
What's going on here? And this woman all of a sudden comes out a couple weeks later, and is like, nothing to see here. I didn't. But instead, it's like, no, the plane landed. You're nuts. You clearly are suffering from something, and now you're putting out this bizarre video, and you're being applauded by Marjorie Taylor Greene of all people, who's like the queen of QAnon conspiracies. It's bizarre. And then but my other favorite thing again is like everyone just being like, that's not her. And then my favorite is someone goes, she's not. Did you write she's not real? Did you put that?
I did. Yeah, I did. I wrote she's
this motherfucker's not real. I don't know. There's nothing really else to talk about. It's pretty funny. It's she could have just went off and been like one of those wacky people that does like talk shows or makes appearances, kind of like the future senator of Florida.
Right. Yes.
Everyone's favorite I don't know, weirdo from like 2003 or something.
Yeah.
What year?
I remember Tan Mom.
Tan Mom. Anyone remember Tan Mom?
I have like only the vaguest recollection of her, but I saw
that famous picture of her, and she was like this woman who was like white lady who was burnt to a crisp.
Yeah.
Like
she looks like an apricot fruit roll up.
She looks like one of those weird, like there's different kinds of dried apricots.
Yeah.
Then there's like the normal ones, and then there's like the ones I'm not really a fan of those, like the ones that look kind of like a little too real.
Yes. Yep.
Like they lost all the like the shiny color.
Now you get them at Whole Foods in bulk. Yeah.
Yeah, they look like it. Are you eating like mulch or something, or is this an apricot?
It's like a bag of ears.
Looks like a used cigarette, like a wet cigarette maybe that was put out in the can.
Yeah.
This lady became like kind of like a Howard Stern regular for a while. Like she was like a Tan Mom. He would have her on, and believe it or not, she's a little kooky. I don't know. I guess she thought she looked good.
Well, I saw her on Twitter today announcing her campaign, and one of the comments. Send me the link
to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's running for Senate. I'm assuming she's running as an independent.
I don't know. I didn't look at her website too deeply, but it seemed like a pretty progressive platform. She was like pro LGBTQ plus rights. She was for universal health care. She was for the environment. I'm like, look, these are all things I kind of support. So I guess I'm on Team Tan Mom.
Team Tan Mom for Florida Senate. Can't be better. I mean, can't be worse. Would she be running against Marco Rubio or
Rick Scott? I think Rick Scott.
Yeah, I would
she'd
vote
be
for
better
her
than
any minute
of
over
course.
those two clowns.
Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, I would vote for half an onion in a plastic bag over.
She is kind of like a half an onion plastic
true.
bag. She looked like one. She doesn't look like that anymore. She's not as tan. She looks strange. It is also like 20 years later.
She looks like, imagine Janice from the Muppets, but like in real life, and like
if Janice actually aged,
rode hard and put away wet. Like that's
well, Dr. Teeth.
Yeah.
You sure?
She looks like Janice from the Muppets.
Janice is hot.
Yeah, well, this is
she's all mouth.
Janice, yeah, but Janice, you remember Janice from like 1981, and this is Janice 40 years later. This is Janice.
So he 40, like 80 years later. Yeah. So wait, you sent me her website, right? I want to pull up her. So, like I said, she announced her run for president. I mean, for senator. Run for president too. I don't care. Where is it? Let me find the website. You texted it to me, right?
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah.
I was like, I saw that, and I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna end this on here. We go. Her name is not actually Tan Mom. Her name is Patricia
Krenzel.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Krenzel, probably. And her line is, Patricia is for everyone. And so she's definitely not inclusive, right?
Look at her campaign is great. She is boots on the ground here in Florida, meeting with those in the community, pro LGBTQ plus. She believes in climate change.
Patricia believes in climate change and supports legislation to prevent it. She wants beautiful beaches for all her kids because she wants to be able to tan, and you need nice beaches.
Yeah. Look at the next one, though. She's against banned books.
Patricia has 5 kids that she supports and believes moms are heroes. She wants every child to have the opportunity for a good education without banned books. Good.
Right.
This is my favorite one, though. Patricia believes everyone needs access to health care after being pronounced clinically dead and left in a coma for 2 weeks. You know, that one should have been reworded. That one makes the whole thing, when you told me a Tan Mom was running for Senate, I was like, I'm not going to take this shit seriously, then I was like, I started reading it. I'm like, you know what? I'm really believing in her. Be the next thing. And then I read that last one. Patricia believes everyone needs access to health care. Oh, yeah, that's great. After being pronounced clinically dead and left in a coma for 2 weeks. What? I feel like there needs to be more. Like, Patricia believes everyone needs access to health care, comma. After being, like, that's not a complete sentence.
Nah, Patricia.
There's something missing there. Like,
Patricia has strong feelings about health care after not receiving oxygen to her brain for 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know, man. This is the thing that throws off her whole entire campaign. I took it very seriously up to this point. I was like, Tan Mom all the fucking way.
Right.
And then it ends with that. And like, I don't know, maybe like a sentence like, and she knows how hard it is to, pay bills and, unaffordable. We cannot have unaffordable healthcare. So she understands what everyone's going through. Something like that. Not Patricia believes everybody needs access to health care. Okay. After being pronounced clinically dead and left in a coma for 2 weeks. Wait, is she dead right now? Is she in a coma? What's going on here?
Yeah, they could have been
amazing. This is the best. Fix your fucking webs. I want to tweet. I want to tweet at her and be like, "You had me until this. You need this. I feel like it's like you were talking, and in the middle of a sentence, you just left the room.
So close. You're so close.
I mean, I would still vote for her over Rick Scott.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Why are you voting for her? Well, she was left in a coma. I'm dead. I don't know. I don't even know how she's here. Because she never finished the story. What did she say? She didn't have oxygen.
Yeah.
I mean,
look, Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like one reboot of Flatliners was enough. I don't know if you need like
either Southern movie. Oh,
yeah. I'd still vote for her. You know, I mean, I
don't care. I mean, anyone would be better than Rick Scott.
Yeah, she does want to tone down the Frankenstein-like aspects of her
With
life
the
story. She wants to tone down the Frankenstein-like aspects of her.
Read the issues. Okay, here we go.
They're just the same, except she adds affordable housing.
Affordable health care. Everyone needs access to it. That's it. That's all you need. Not the weird. But now she's in a coma. Everyone needs access to it. Florida's rampant with price gouging and insurance rates. There you go. Perfect. Right. Now I feel safer again. Now I feel like I could vote for her. Where's her picture? It was on the front page. Oh, they made it like smaller.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she looks so weird.
Right. They say after that coma,
she looks like if somebody hit Suzanne Summers in the face with like a chocolate cream pie.
Yeah, I could see that. I can see that. I can see. After her coma, she was augmented with a brain from Abby Normal. Abby Normal.
Yeah, she got a brain donation.
Well, I do admire her moxie. If not,
just fix that one thing on your website. There needs to be, you just got to remove that last part. Patricia believes everyone needs access to healthcare. Done.
Period.
Period. After being pronounced clinically dead, somebody's fucking with her. Did she not pay the person? Like, like the picture of her too in front of the flag. Not as crazily tanned as she was, but she's still rocking a tan.
I like the jazz hands.
Yeah.
I do think she looks like Janice from the Muppets there, though.
A little bit Suzanne Summers too.
Yeah, for sure.
Like again, hit in the face with the
chocolate cream
pie. That she didn't wash off like a week later. Not right away. It's still on her, but like it's just slowly coming off.
Right. I do see this quote though. I want to use my power of fame and personal struggles to bring awareness. I would, if I were her manager, I would warn her against sharing too many of those personal struggles. And
I maybe like the whole like being pronounced dead. It's like a reminder of like Terry Schiavo.
Yeah,
Florida thing. So maybe that's like
it's true.
Like, yeah, this is like a Florida thing. They love people who are like enormous. Like, dude, that
is true. That may.
I'll say is we talk. Well, go ahead. What?
Well, you and me may look at being clinically brain dead as being unrelatable, but in Florida, that might be the path to the average voter.
Yeah, I too right now am in coma and brain dead. Like this is my candidate. Too.
Right.
Had not had oxygen to my brain. We talk about like Republicans, like they say like crazy shit and like, I'm like, no, they've always been like this. Let's go back to 2005 or 2006, whatever. I think it was 2000. Terry Schiavo.
Yeah.
Republicans would go on TV and claim that she was walking and talking. Yeah. And it was in fact this poor woman was brain dead for like years and was on a feeding tube. Yeah. You're like, I went in there and we had a full conversation.
Right. Yeah, they would. They'd go in there and swear she's like blinking like at the end of that Metallica video or something. And
what's that song?
Is it One?
I don't know.
Anyway, it's from that movie Johnny Got His Gun.
Yeah.
Anyway, like, but the doctors, the doctors would come out and say, no, this is not what's happening. Her brain is like a coconut with the liquid inside. If you shook her head, you'd hear it sloshing around and stuff.
Oh no, they never said that. Poor, this is so awful. Everything about that was so bad.
It was sad. It was real sad.
The guy was like, they're like, hey, he's remarrying. It's like the woman. This happened like decades ago or something. It was like so long ago. Yeah. This poor guy was being harassed and everything.
Yeah.
Idiots would go in there and be like, we had a full conversation. She told me her name and what year it was.
Right. It was
No, sir. None of that happened, you lying piece of shit.
Yeah. People, yeah. Well,
that
anyway.
did in Jeb Bush. That was like,
that was a big deal. Yeah.
That he looked like a fucking idiot. And that's saying a lot.
Well, I'll tell you that and like a lot of my relatives are Catholic, but there's a certain like strain within the Catholic Church that's like super believing of like divinity and miracles and stuff that is just tough to get into if you're not of that faith. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I think we're getting pretty deep here. We're going to end this episode. Yeah. I think that also plays into the whole like when it comes to abortion, and they say like, oh, this child's not viable. Like it has no organs, it has no eyes, it doesn't have a brain. Right. Like they would still be like, oh, the faith of God will guide her.
Yeah, like no,
child, and they will become a doctor, and it's like
it's never. I mean, just because it happened with Ben Carson doesn't mean that it's going to happen.
Just because it happened with Ben Carson. Yeah, that's a 1 in a billion, dude. That's Look at Dan Mom. She can't even finish a story. She posted something and then left the room. She literally left her website. She was like, I was in a coma for 2 weeks and now I'm dead. And then like 10 minutes later, where is she? Where'd she go? She was just saying something. And
she's like burning toast for the 70th consecutive day. Like
the person was making the website like, I don't know how to end this. Fuck it. She's not really paying me anyway. It's like one of her kids made it.
Well,
this is amazing.
Godspeed, Tad Mom. I wish you the best.
Tad Mom's the best. There's all these weirdos and everything. I feel like this needs more attention.
I do too.
I'm gonna have to bring this up.
I'm gonna give her a follow.
I'm gonna post her website and bring this up and be like, this needs to be addressed.
Gotta rephrase this.
Yeah. What's it called? Like I have a follow-up here or rebuttal. Something like
this may play in like 70% of Florida, but you're gonna have to win the urban centers too, and they don't fall for that stuff.
People who have been brain dead for 2 weeks.
This will appeal to the brain dead Floridians, but that's only 70% of the population.
70%? The brackish water Floridians. Their brains are mostly just fucking worms.
Yeah, unless one of your other challenges was being thrown off an ATV into a canal filled with room temperature water.
Filled with creatures that could live in sustain life in my body.
Unless you had to go to a doctor and get something pulled out of your ear like Wrath of Khan. Then
Dude, that when I was a little kid, I saw that. I think I saw that terrifying. That fucking scared the shit out of me. Was that Yaphet Kotto?
Jeez.
I don't know. I just remember that scene. I was like, I'm sure now if I watch it, I'm like, oh, this is lame as fuck. But I just remember that, and that scared the fuck out of me. Yeah. There was a couple of movies around that time period. We're gonna end this episode. There's a couple of movies around that time period that involved like venomous, weird creatures that would like sting and kill you. The Wrath of Khan was one. Do you remember Flash Gordon?
When he hand thing.
Dalton, and they had to put their hand in there.
That was terrifying.
He gets hit and poisoned to death. And there's like another one that was like that. I don't know if it was cold or something, but man, very effective. Like a shitty little prop, but it worked.
Yeah, the Flash Gordon was real scary too. I remember that.
And that was a silly movie.
Yeah. That really was.
But those earworm things are 20% of the Floridian voters. what have we tried to appeal to the Wrath of Khan? I don't know. What are those fucking death worms?
Oh,
you can't reduce their vote.
Can't take them for granted.
Yeah, you can't take that voter block for granted.
New York is down there doing a big think piece on how we all need to learn how to understand the Wrath of Khan earworm voter.
Yeah, Barry Weiss put out a whole piece. We need to understand. Yeah, JD Vance. We need to understand the Wrath of Khan. Venomous worms, earworms. I agree.
Yeah. Well, hey.
All right. Well,
all right.
On that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.